There that wake up, get your mind right. Real talk, no fluff, no sidelines. We outside, bring the truth to the sunrise. 3 a.m. yeah, we coming at the right time. Dave Anderson Morning News. Like Hook Media. Morning Media just got dangerous.
Good morning. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Welcome to Dave Anderson Morning News, aka Damn. Oh, damn. I hope you are having a phenomenal day. I know I am. Let's see who's in the building. FU2's in the building. What up? You see, you got that mod wrench. People act up. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they don't agree with you, FU2, that don't mean you boot them. But I'm talking about people who are being absolutely disrespectful. But good morning to you, fam. I always want to thank a YouTube member. Glad to see the mods are in the building. Y'all know what today is. Do y'all know what today is? I don't know. Y'all might not know what today is. But before I tell you what today is, I need to remind you that Chill Music is debuting May 1st. That's this Friday. That is this Friday. Chill Music is going crazy. I can't wait. Of course, you know, lead single is Curry in the Bando. That is going to be some good coffee. Curry in the Bando, spice in the pot. Everybody black when the benefit hot. What's good with you? How was your evening? Did you have a phenomenal day? I know you had a damn good morning. Matter of fact, I need to make some damn good morning mugs. Yes, I do. I think that's extremely important. Today, of course, is none other than Smoke Show Wednesday. And you know what pisses me off? It's Smoke Show Wednesday, but y'all know folks don't be really wanting that smoke. They really don't be wanting that smoke. What up, Sick With It? Good morning. How are you? Let me know how your day is going. I just found out Spotify put the album up early, so if y'all want to listen to it, y'all can head over to Spotify. And even if you do, I really would appreciate if you actually bought the album when it drops on Friday, because, you know, iTunes, wherever you get your music, make sure y'all support Chill Music. It's extremely important. I worked very hard on this album, especially for my B1 foundationals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make sure that y'all go out here and support it. But like always, it is Smoke Show Wednesday. And if you got yourself a beef, let's cook it and eat it, because y'all know your boy, he ain't ducking no smoke. I don't do the smoke ducking. We don't duck no smoke round here. Round here, we keep it real. We keep it real. I'll be chill. For some reason, I'll be chill. I'll be trying to add you as a mod, but when I go to look for you, you don't pop up. But ladies and gentlemen, it's a super chat alert. The Iceman with the $2 super chat said, it's a celebration in the goddamn nation. Woo! What's going on, Iceman? Good to see you, man. I want everybody, you know, who's in the cookout to be in the building. Shout out to you. I am always waiting for somebody to come up here and give me the smoke, because everybody got a problem. It's amazing how many people are online creating like YouTube videos about me. I'm like, I don't even know you. Like, it's so wild to me. I appreciate it because that means I'm doing something right. But it's just, as my friend Tatiana would say, I find it weird. I find it weird. Also, if you want your question or comment read on air, make sure that you hit me with a super chat so we can get this thing popping. And we're going to have a great show. But of course, let's get all of the sponsor stuff out of the way. Vitamin Energy, as always, link is in the description. Go to vitaminenergy.com/David07407 and get yourself a nice discount on some good natural energy. And of course, my favorite spice company, Dadia's Blend. That's dadiasblend.com. Vegetable, beef, and chicken. I love the chicken. Stereotypical, maybe, but it's phenomenal. Dadiasblend.com. Tell them Dave Anderson, the business bully, sent you, aka damn Dave Anderson Morning News, man. I think it's your handle. RB. I'm trying to figure out why we can't get you in there. But we got some stuff to go over. Y'all know we got some stuff to go over. You know, so I'm trying to find out what the latest is with your girl Chef Marilyn. Because you know, we've seen a lot of stuff, but we haven't really found out anything you know, specific or anything new. So I'm still waiting to hear what's next. But y'all already know a lot of times folks just be talking out of the side of their behinds, and it don't even be making no type of sense. So, you know, I want to see, you know, where we are on this. And I still think that there's something going on, you know, especially when she said the whole loan shark thing. The loan shark thing completely threw me off. I don't know about y'all, but that in and of itself was wild. And I did not know that was happening. There aren't any updates on her page aside from the lady from You Can Do It, Put Your Back Into It, talking about we gonna have a show. So that's what it is. FU2 says go yeah. Oh yeah, talking to Al. Okay, bet. Oh, Vince Staples is dropping the album. That's what's up. I'm not mad at him. We need to get the likes up, we need to get the shares up. You know, your boy is out here putting out high quality foundational Black American entertainment. And so y'all already know, everybody who wants to come up here and bring that smoke woke up and chose poor decision making. I understand. You know, we've got military hearings, we got oil drama, we got AI in the Pentagon, we got creators getting debit cards, rappers fighting for their masters, platforms restricting videos in the internet. Once again, is proving that Wi-Fi was a mistake for some people. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know how to put this to you, but we're just gonna have a conversation, right? Let's just dive into it, because y'all already know your boy Petey, and I ain't talking Pablo, I'm talking Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is out here wilding right now, people. Your boy Petey is out here wilding. We don't know what the hell is going on, but Petey out here bugging. Let me put this up for y'all real quick to see everything that's happening, because this is what goes down when people don't do the right thing. So we're gonna watch this together. We are going to watch this together, and when y'all see how they treating the boy Petey, we're gonna have this conversation. I want to make sure that you guys can. I hate the pop-ups. I hate the pop-ups. Let's see if we can
agreed to meet with us, as became embarrassingly clear as the day spun out and poor JD Vance had to keep going back and forth to the airport.
First of all, the term JD Vance and poor should never be in the same sentence, but let's keep going.
Never even had a meeting. So wish fulfillment is not really a strategy. I mean, maybe the president thinks he's doing some sort of Jedi mind trick and can tell Iran, you will give up your nuclear weapons, and they automatically will.
Oh, did y'all see that sap on his mouth? Did y'all see that tree sap on his mouth? I got to run that back.
All we keep hearing on the objectives is we keep seeing all of the targets that we have struck. And again, that is an incredible accomplishment from a tactical standpoint. I think the proficiency of our military has been on display, but we're not in this for a tactical advantage. We're in this to fundamentally change Iran. And as we sit here today, Iran's nuclear program is exactly what it was before this war started.
That tree sap's forming in his mouth.
They lost their capacity to inflict pain. They still have a ballistic missile program. They're still able to blockade the Strait of Hormuz and have the ships that are capable of doing that. What is the plan to get that to change? And most disturbingly, the president keeps telling us that it's over. what was it, a week ago Friday, the president announced that Iran had agreed to give up their nuclear program, to give up their ballistic missile program, to stop support for terrorist groups, to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The only
My gosh. So this is what happens when we, start having a bunch of what's the word I'm looking for here? Oversight that just doesn't make any sense. Man. It's a mess. Y'all saw that tree sap. Monet, you saw that tree sap. Yeah. He married too. I feel sorry for his wife. Imagine, first of all, the man ain't got no lips, and then second of all, what's coming between the slit in his mouth? I sound like because what's coming between the slit in his mouth is just disgusting. You see, it's not good. He's talking and he's saying what's happening with the Strait of Hormuz, but what is going on with your oral hygiene? You see, I would like to talk to you about some Listerine. I would like to talk to you about investing in the tongue scraper. No, that was disgusting. Steve-O, what up? DC in the building? Don't look at S. I don't know who that is to even look at them. And if somebody don't like FBAs, that sounds like a personal problem. What up, Naomi? Good to see you. Make sure you guys are hitting the super chats. We are out here having a good time. You see, Camille, my wife Camille. I'm gonna tell you what was so funny. Not long after Dr. Cosby got released from them bogus charges. I said what I said from them bogus charges. My mom hadn't spoken to Dr. Cosby in some years, and so I put him on the phone with my mom. And he said, Cookie, I call your son the junior old head. See. And my mom says, well, David has an also. No, Cookie, I said a junior old head, you see, because he's old, but he's young. You see, I don't know, but I think he might be someone who used to play with us. We played Buck, and he's like he's a young old man. Camille, what is them with the Benjamin Button? He's aging the wrong way. I'll be chill with the $2 super chat for the coffee pot. Drink the coffee, it'll make it taste better. Shout out to Cheesless Ed for that. But yeah, man, I think it's hilarious the way they're going after him. Absolutely. And that's why I'm telling y'all, like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but once y'all hear this album, it's bad enough they come after me with nonsense, man. Every time I turn around, there's some BS crisis. There is some nonsensical situation, and that's why support is extremely needed and necessary. And that's what happens when we start to do the things that we should be doing for our people, when we start calling stuff out. And y'all got mad at Cosby. A lot of people in my generation, at least, got mad at Cosby when he was like, you need to stop standing in line on Saturday morning for sneakers. None of you can play ball. I have seen it. It is not happening. When I graduated from Temple University, he said, I was looking in the coursework and I saw the majors that they offer here at Temple University. There is not a major for cheesesteak flipping. There is not a major for oatmeal dishing. There's not a major for taxi driving, and that's what a lot of you are going to be doing, you see. But yeah, what they did to Cosby is absolutely unreal. So there's a young man named Fanatic who just popped up backstage. I'm very excited. I like meeting new people. So I'm excited. Let's make sure we welcome Fanatic. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty blessed. I'm happy to talk to you, man.
Absolutely. What can I do for you today, my friend?
Well, just really wanted to kind of get to know you a little bit better. I heard you mention a few things. Just to really quick tell you how I even found out about you, because I wasn't very familiar with your content. You debated one of my friends recently.
Who's that?
His name is Higher Thinking.
I don't even know who that is.
You guys were talking about the mayor of Chicago and whether or not.
Oh, I remember him. Yeah, he kept bringing up points that he couldn't back up with facts. He started talking about how he felt, and yeah, I remember that.
That's my homeboy. But anyway, I love that guy. He's a great guy. But
very nice young man.
Yeah, he is very nice and very, very pro black. He's also FBA, and so he told me about the content, and so I'm like, oh, some dude, he debated you. So I was excited because I'm like, okay, let me listen to this content. I'm gonna go debate this guy. And I listened to the whole conversation, and I was like, yo, I'm so sorry, bro. I actually agreed with it. So I didn't have a debate for you. And so I listened to that content, and that was that. And I was like, okay, well, and then just now I kind of looked it up. I looked at your YouTube, kind of popped up on my feed.
Sure.
And I heard you mention Cosby, and I was like, dang, man. I agree with him again too. So I don't think we're gonna find very many. We're not gonna find any debate. But you mentioned something about an album.
Yes, sir.
What type of music do you do exactly?
Well, I have my own genre. It's called chill music. So I do a bit of everything. So hip hop, R&B, yacht rock, rock and roll. I even have you've heard of Afro beats.
Mm-hmm.
I have what's called FB beats. So it's like Afro beats except for it's foundationally black.
Yeah.
And I have a song called Tethermouth. It's a pretty good song.
Now I gotta look that up. Hold up.
Yeah.
So I'm a producer, bro. That's what I do.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I produce. I do music for a living. Right now I'm the music director for a band called Dirty Rice. We are a Frankie Beverly tribute band.
Hey, watch your mouth now. Hold on.
Man.
Hold on. I got a funny story. Number one, I'm from Philly. Number two,
wow. Frankie
Beverly was going to be my uncle, or could have been my uncle. My Aunt Fran, God rest her soul. You got to remember, right? I'm a, like Bill Cosby said, I am a junior old head. My parents are much, much older. My mother was born in 46. My father was born in 35. I'm saying all that to say that Frankie Beverly would come to my grandfather's door at least once a week, trying to holler at my Aunt Fran. My Aunt Fran, I'm not gonna hold you, one of the most beautiful women in the world. I'm not even gonna lie to you. God rest her soul. She's a beautiful woman. Like, I mean, she even had like the Betty Boop mode, so I get it. Like, people was on my Aunt Fran.
Right.
Having said all of this, what is going on with your screen? Why am I on
I'm
like
sorry,
17
that's on
different
me.
screens, bro?
No, that's on me. Let me fix it back. Hold on 1 second.
What is we doing?
No, you good.
Are you clearing down? Are you with the feds?
No.
Are you taping this right now?
I am. I stream on Twitch, and you.
That's all right. What up, Twitch? Yo, go get my album, Chill Music. It's available everywhere May 1st. Anyway,
May 1st.
Frankie Beverly was in a gang. This is a true story. Frankie Beverly was in the gang, and I said to my grandfather after hearing this story, because I couldn't believe it was true. And my grandfather said, No, I didn't get, I think the sun. No, that's not the came to my door. He was a hooligan. He was a leather jacket wearing, grease comb having. He wasn't coming nowhere near my Francine. I said, you ran Frankie Beverly off. He said several times, and I do it again. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yo, I'm trying to tell you, man. So yeah, Frankie Beverly could have been my uncle, but unfortunately, my Aunt Fran married my Uncle Russell. And I mean, fortunately, but because
unfortunately, it's crazy.
All my cousins are brown skinned. Frankie Beverly, we would have had some high yellows messing with Frankie Beverly because my aunt was kind of fair. She took after my grandmother. But I say all that to say, yo, you got a Frankie Beverly and Mays tribute band. Say less. I'm there.
Nah, for sure. And it's premiere, man. I mean, like legitimately. Every single one of our shows are sold out. We just did our first cruise. We headlined Taste of Soul 3 times, to an audience of 300,000. Yes. Frankie Beverly's son is actually going to be at our next show on May 17th at Spaghettini. His son is, was kind of managing the business. We've gotten endorsements from, his family. Jubal Smith is doing a performance with us on May 30th at Newport Jazz Festival. So we're really doing it in a very serious way. And so I'm hyper proud to be, even directing this band because, I mean, look, I'm gonna be real. I didn't grow up on Frankie Beverly music. I wasn't really allowed to listen to secular music. I was raised.
Oh Lord, wait, are you Pentecostal?
No, it's non-denominational, but it was a very cult-like experience. So I didn't grow up on no secular music, legit. You Google it, they'll tell you it's a cult. It was gross. But my point being, since I didn't grow up on that music, I'm just really musically inclined. So then when I joined the band and I learned like 2 songs, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna add this song in there. We're gonna add it. And every song they added was amazing. And I realized just how great his music is. And then also I realized the legend that he is, and the fact that he never got the accolades that he was supposed to, in the sense that we venerate mediocre musicians. I shouldn't say this publicly, but I'm going to say it. Mediocre musicians like the Beatles, right? We venerate them. They will be forever seen. See, look. I know you're going to be mad. I know people hate that.
Mad. I agree with you. I hate respectfully. Okay. Respectfully. And again, like my Aunt Gigi, that's my Aunt Fran's youngest sister. Right? I take care of my aunt. She was obsessed with the Beatles. She came in that end of the era because she's the youngest, right? Okay. Her and Uncle Byron, the youngest. They came on that.
Yup.
First of all, that's an Ike Turner riff.
Off top.
Second of all, what they didn't steal from Ike, they stole from Jimmy. What they didn't steal from Jimmy, they stole from Little Richard, who took them on the damn road. There is no British invasion without an architect of rock and roll. Please don't get me started on the Beatles. Not to mention their biggest contribution was almost scrambled eggs. Can't help thinking about your sexy legs. Those were the original lyrics of Yesterday. Google it when you ain't got nothing better to do.
Are you being serious right now?
I don't joke about music, bro. I'm a disciple of Teddy Pendergrass. What I do not do is joke about music.
Look, see, that's so. Here's what's crazy. I love their music though.
Almost of course you do, because you're black.
When people cover their music, it is always better than when they're doing it themselves.
Because it's black music. That's why.
Exactly.
Again, speaking of Philadelphia, Music Soul Child, something in the way
his version is so much better. That's exactly the point. 100%.
Because it's black.
100%.
There's 2 things you can never do in this life. If I die, I want y'all to play this at my funeral. Bro, I'm holding you accountable, Fanatic. Make sure they play this at my funeral. There's 2 things that you cannot do. You can't let any amount of money is never going to unlame a lame. And no matter how much mayo you put on soul, you are not going to get that flavor.
100%.
Period, point blank. 100%. I'm sorry. The Beatles is black music. I'm sorry. Here's one for you. Shake It Up, Baby, Twist and Shout. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that Beatles thing. Yeah, sorry. Isley Brothers.
I didn't know that.
Most people don't. Also, you make me wanna. Isley's. So the Beatles have done nothing but cosplay. Y'all keep talking about Elvis, but you let them 4 mop-headed looking, ugly face, fish and chips, bangers and mash ass people run off with our sound. I'm sorry. I'm going on a tangent. This is your time. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to talk. I'm going to come right back, but I got to grab something off the printer. What I'm going to do is I want you to tell everybody about your band, tell everybody about your website, how people can support your music, where they can get it, all that good stuff. Okay?
For sure. Look, well, like I said, the name of the band is Dirty Rice, spelled DURTIRYCE. I should grab a hat. I'm going to right now. Boom. Dirty Rice. We are a Frankie Beverly tribute band. It's spelled DURTIRYCE. What we're doing, man, is we're keeping the legacy. Dirty Rice featuring Duran. Our lead singer is the literal truth, a genuine star, a generational talent. Frankie Beverly is a cross-generational talent. And there's a lot of people that wanted to keep his legacy alive. We were doing it slightly, before his passing, but nobody can keep this legacy alive to the tune that Duran does. Dirty Rice is really trying our best to capture the essence of that band Maze, because that was some of the most excellent music. A lot of us have cultures where our parents and our grandparents were going to these concerts and all white, and they drop you off at the grandparents and all that stuff. I've heard that story millions of times from people, in my age group. It wasn't my personal experience, but that is how people lived. And so knowing the legacy that he was, the fact that he didn't change, he never switched it up, and he just kept his music the same, is beautiful. So what we're doing is we have been all over Los Angeles. We went to St. Louis once or twice. We just did a cruise in Ensenada. We have a cruise coming up in 2027. that y'all should come to. Go to the website dirtyrice.com, DURTIRYCE. We sell merch, lots of it. We got these hats and sweaters, hoodies, shoes, all of it, just everything. And it's doing pretty freaking well. And it's, all to keep this legacy alive. People are stingy with who they are willing to support. Again, if he was a Caucasian, we would never hear the end of him. But because he was who he was and because he looked like us, then, but he never got the shine that he wanted outside of our community. We recognized the talent. We saw who he was and we gave him the props that he deserved, but not everybody else was able to give him that. And so what we're trying to do is keep that legacy alive. So if y'all want to come support the music, again, we do, I believe, a fantastic tribute. The music is on point and nobody can touch our lead singer. So check out the website, come to that cruise. It's going to be a freaking amazing time. That's all that.
I love that. I love that. Yo, shout out to Mika. Mika's in the building. Mika, what is you doing? I know you ain't gonna be here till later if you come at all. Mika pop up when she wants to, but shout out to Mika. Anywho and anyhow, bro. I think that's dope. But yeah, so you're in Chicago too?
No, we're operating out of Los Angeles. We almost all of our gigs are in the LA area. We Andre Russell from KJLH, he's forever promoting us. He's like our main promoter. He comes on the road with us and announces all of our shows. So that's where we are. But we're Jubu, who played with Maze and Frankie Beverly for X amount of years. He's gonna be playing with us May 30th. But then now that we kind of inked a deal with him, so we're gonna be doing several shows with him moving forward. Some shows are gonna be in the South with Jubu, and then he's gonna come to some of our shows on the West Coast. So that's like a newly inked thing. So it's really going well. But I wanted to go ahead and I want to produce some music for you, buddy.
Man, I'd love that, man. You send me some tracks. I'll make it work, bro.
Yeah, and you say you're not stuck in just only hip hop. You do all of it, right? All genres.
I think even I think the folks in the cookout, that's the audience. They'll tell you like I like genre bending stuff because I'm Black, and I think a lot of times we got to stop. It's a funny story. I remember one time. I've known my wife since I was 17 years old, but when we started dating, something came on, and just instinctively, I was like, yeah, she's like, no, I love this song. I was like, oh, for real? She's like, yo, no, Dave, I don't have any ears. And I said, me neither. Like, I don't know how old you are, but I came up in the 70s and 80s. And for me, and when I say 70s, I might as well just say end of the 70s and then throughout the 80s and 90s, I came up in a time where, it wasn't uncommon to hear Run DMC and then go hear Van Halen. My stepfather's best friend was George Benson. So I remember going to Valley Forge Music Fair, and I never seen a stage like that because the stage was like a round and it spun. So he's bing, ding, 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 bing, bing, ding, bing, ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, yo, it's crazy. I said, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I said, but one day I'm gonna be on that stage. And then I was 10. 7 years later, I was on that stage with Teddy Pendergrass.
That's crazy, bro.
Last show in the Valley Forge Music Fair. Like, I love music, man.
You play instruments as well?
I play every brass instrument except for the trombone, but bro, I'm extremely rusty. My embouchure is shot. You'll be lucky to get taps out of me nowadays.
Dang, I played the trombone, the baritone, the tuba.
Yeah, I love the tuba. I hated the trombone because the slides always bothered me. I was much better with valves. I don't know why.
Probably because it could be slightly off. You know what I mean? You probably want specifically accurate pitch, and I know exactly. I get it because it was something that bothered me even because it really is just based on your own ear. How do you know you're exactly on the F? How do you know? You know what I mean? Because there's just really you just gotta feel it. Yeah, and it's just a slide, so it could be anywhere. And I understand exactly where that came from. Even so for me, yeah. There was another thing that you mentioned really quick that I genuinely appreciated, man. It was a Cosby thing. Yeah. So I do a lot of debates. Okay, so I've done debates with a lot of high profile people, and one of the debates that I had was with this on these panels where I was defending at the height of that Bill Cosby, specifically because obviously there is no forensic evidence which ever indicates that he did any of these things. You had everybody come forward and mention things like, hey, Quaaludes were the drugs at the time, and yes, he admitted in a deposition that he got Quaaludes, but that was like a sexual enhancer. This is not the same as date grape drugs. This is
Correct.
not what that is. It's not incapacitating you. It's not that type of environment. And these women, Whoopi Goldberg herself, literally went on there and said, I willingly took those things. We all took those things. So he provided a sexual enhancing for women. He never said that he gave them to them surreptitiously. He never said he drugged people. But then now, if you look at everywhere, every headline lies and says Bill Cosby admitted to drugging and graping women. He never did that. He said he had the Quaaludes. Now, with that, furthermore, again, there was never any forensic evidence.
No.
These people are all coming forward like that were paid in some of these cases where, you know, now they're talking about stories that are 30 years ago that can't be possibly proven. And if we're going to sit there and say that you're innocent until proven guilty, there's no possible way that you can prove that he did this with the absence of all forensic evidence, because a testimony can be a lie, especially when there's benefits in whatever. I was labeled a racist for saying this by so many of these people in the debate sphere because they just refuse to accept that. But what you'll notice is that no Black artist dies clean. No matter what it is, they will do something to tarnish that legacy. We had 10 years of investigations against Michael Jackson raised by the FBI. We have testimonies from the alleged accusers originally where they've recanted their stories. We've had, like, you know, I mean, they were literally raiding his house with him gone. They never found a single shred of evidence whatsoever. We obviously know there was the financial exploitation that they tried to fleece him for. So all of that, yet we still talk about him as this person. Oh, they you know, Wade Robson, one of the people Leaving Neverland. When he died, he said, this was my mentor, this was my friend, someone I loved, so on and so forth. He had been defending, he willfully went and defended Cosby as a child, but then went back and did it as an adult. So you've defended him in court as an adult against these allegations, and in some sort of way, after he dies, when you ask for, there was Cirque du Soleil, and you wanted to be the choreographer for that show. You asked the estate for that, they don't give it to you, and now you say, oh, I did therapy and got some repressed memories, and they came back, and yeah, now I remember what he did to me. Lies. So these things are all obviously false, and so I just appreciate and commend the fact that you're willing to stand up and defend these type of people, because Black men do not die clean. No matter what, they will find a way of tarnishing your legacy.
Yes, and that's why this is in Fanatic. You don't know me, but you know, even the audience might not know this. The one thing that I know is what you just said to be absolutely true, and that is none of us are going to die clean. They will find something, they will make up something, they will say whatever they want to say. Hell, Barack ain't even a foundational Black American, and they went after him
for a tan suit.
For a tan suit, because I mean, such a crime. Reagan wore a tan suit, but I'm gonna let people live.
Right.
Anyway, my thing with that is, how can I say this without saying it? Let's just say that there's an individual whose name rhymes with Blavin Beffin, who tried to what's the word I want to use here? How would Roland Martin say it?
That's a jump in his ass.
He tried to jump in Mike's, and Mike said, I don't do that. I'm a pimp. No, I mean, in so many words.
Yeah.
No. He's like, this a movement. No, I'm Mike straight.
100%.
So that didn't play too well. As a result, that same individual summoned people whose names may rhyme with Bopra Brimfree and Bale Bing, and said, go. Now, when it comes to Wade Robson, that tangy piece of dog excrement literally said that Mike touched him at a place in Neverland that had not been built yet, and Mike was all the way in Bucharest touring. So, but see, nobody cares. Mark Twain, who hasn't lived almost 200 years, said, a lie will go around the world before the truth has a chance to put on its shoes. And that's what happened with Mike. Greatest single record seller in recorded history, greatest entertainer in recorded history. It's not, I'm sorry, Beyonce came up during the internet era, Bruno Mars internet era, The Weeknd, please. He looks like a Who from Whoville. Knock it off. And all of them have taken pages from Mike. And again, that's no shade. Beyonce's a very nice girl. Her sister, not so much, but Beyonce's a very nice girl. Got nothing against her. Bruno Mars is a cultural vulture. I got a lot against him.
See, hey, can I speak to that real quick?
Feel free.
Look, Bruno Mars.
Smoke show is we having conversations, and if anybody, real quick before you go, I just want to put this back in the chat because you know black folks will act like I didn't say they couldn't come up and blah blah. You know how I go. So if y'all want to come up and join the conversation, it is the smoke show. I ain't ducking none, but until we get some, we're gonna have some conversation. Go ahead. Sure. I'm sorry.
So Bruno Mars, I understand where that smoke comes from. I felt that way at some point too. I'm extremely pro-black. However, what I did discover, without a doubt, that dude is he will partake in some culture. He has at least always given the credit and recognized and admitted that he has gotten his swag, his soul, his just all of it, his image. He got it all from black folk. So it's hard for me to call him a vulture because for me, what oftentimes feel like vulture, for example, when you
we got a debate, ladies and gentlemen. No, go ahead. I'm shutting up. I'm gonna mute myself. Please, you have the floor, sir. Go. So,
when it came to people like Post Malone, I feel like that was vulturing. Like without a doubt, you're just a culture vulture. None of these things are things that you were raised with. You didn't understand. You just saw an image, imitated that image, used that image, and propagated that image. And then when you wanted to switch to a different country, you were able to do that, even though Beyonce couldn't do that. Now with Bruno Mars, like as he was a young child performer. Like young, like, you know, there's videos of him at like 7 years old doing things like whatever. And he was like imitating Elvis Presley, who of course stole all of his culture from black people. Right. So when Bruno Mars is growing up in that era, and so he has the Elvis Presley, but then he starts watching a bunch of Michael Jackson, who was black, and he starts watching, you know, all of these other black artists, and that becomes his influence because as a young child, he knew that he wanted to perform. He was already performing, and so that was the stuff that he grew up watching, imitating, and trying his best to emulate. So a lot of times when I look at culture vultures, I think it's more nefarious in a sense that it's not from a genuine place of admiration. It's not from a genuine place of like trying to partake in a culture or really being like raised in that culture. Like Iggy Azalea, where you're putting on like a black face, like you're pretending. The accent is not real. The image is not real. You don't know any of the history. You don't know the culture. You didn't know this music whatsoever. And it's just someone is feeding you these images and this stuff to do. You're having other people write for you the entire time. And so then it's like, yeah, this is completely put on. And I don't feel like the same for Bruno Mars, and that's where I'll land.
That was a solid argument. My God, Fanatic, you, maybe because you're in LA, maybe I think you're at least 5 minutes older than your buddy in Chicago. Because I mean, bro, that we still talk about him.
Like, I love that guy, bro. Come on, man.
He's a very nice guy. But again, I'm not trying to be funny, but my favorite wrestler is from Chicago. His name is CM Punk, and he famously said, "Your arm's too short to box with God." The dude was punching above his weight class. Right. You have logic, you have musical theory, you actually are a musician, and so I respect your opinion. Now, before we go there, I'd like to read you something.
Okay.
Because you made a very valid point out. Everybody, you get your super chats ready, because somebody about to get this ass whipping.
Let's go.
You said that it's very important that Bruno Mars, because he was a child performer and he always acknowledged that he got a lot of what he does from black people. That's I'm paraphrasing, but am I in the ballpark of what you said? Fanatic?
Absolutely.
All right, now I see you can mute him. This is so respectful. I like this guy, boy. I'm telling you, I like this guy. So, by that logic, I want to read something to you. Rock and roll was here a long time before I came along, and nobody, and I do mean nobody, can sing that kind of music like colored people. Would you consider that statement an acknowledgement of black people inventing rock and roll?
I don't want to get into a tangent.
No.
I hate the phrase colored people and people.
So do I.
Because
so do I. But we got to talk about the time that was said. That's what we were called.
Sure, but if someone's using that today, then
no, it's not today. No. I'm talking the 1950s.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's when colored people were exclusively black. Right. Yes,
but I don't want to get on color things. But you agree with the statement. So if somebody 100%. Is saying that, you would contend that they, like Bruno Mars, are acknowledging the fact that black people are behind rock and roll and can't nobody sing rock and roll R&B like black folks.
Without a doubt. Yes.
Congratulations, you just proved your own point. That was from Elvis Presley. Elvis was friends with B.B. King. Elvis was friends with Fats Domino, Arthur Big Boy Crudup, the Ink Spots. All these folks loved Elvis, and Elvis, quote unquote, loved them. Now, I know that Elvis is a white face put on black music, no different than Jerry Lee Lewis. Both, I know Elvis is a PDF file. I get all of that, and I'm not championing for Elvis, but I'm bringing it to your point. It is not enough for you to acknowledge that black people did something when you're benefiting far and away above what the black people you're acknowledging are doing. And it's so funny that you talk about Bruno Mars being a child performer, because the first time I saw Bruno, it was watching the Arsenio Hall show where he was doing what? Impersonating Elvis.
Yep.
Not only that, the man has never had an original song a day in his life. Hell, if you look at his latest song, You Make Me Dance. I'm sorry, that's not how his version goes. His version goes, do, 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 do. Between that and he took that, and then he also went, everybody grab your feet and feel united. Not that part, but the oh. So he got that. And then he literally ripped off Andre 3000 with the morphing of himself in every single band position, the green outfits, the clothes set. This dude does not have an original song in his arsenal. And I was so happy that him and Mark Ronson got sued to the Stone Age for jacking Trinidad James, Mars Day and the Time, the Gap Band, and Everybody Black. I will never give that culture vulture who decided all of a sudden, because when he came out, and again, audience, hold me accountable. Fanatic, correct me if I'm wrong. When Bruno Mars came out, you know what we got? We got a cute little Polynesian kid who was running around with a straw hat saying, I want to be a billionaire so flicking bad. Buy all of the things I never had. I want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine. Then he goes on tour, opens for Janelle Monáe, who was doing a whole big brass band James Brown setup, because she was a huge James Brown fan. That's when she had the pompadour, this, that, and the third. Next thing you know, after he leaves his leg of the tour, all of a sudden he's all doo-wops and hooligans. He's got the same brass band. He has the same exact pompadour as Janelle Monáe. What is original about Bruno Mars? He's a vulture. Tell me how he's any different than Post Malone, because he's brown. Have you seen his sisters? You know, the Lalas? Because he's cosplaying as black. Where'd the afro come from? Because he damn sure didn't have one. And then before you say, well, he's bringing light to music that is classic black music that we just don't hear no more because black people don't want to make that. That's funny, because I remember Cisco, I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but I remember Cisco doing Love's Train, and it was a whole lot better than the 1.5 black people in Silk Sonic. I'm sorry, the half black person in Silk Sonic, because he also identifies as Asian. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Anderson .Paak. No relation.
Does he?
He does. Surprise! Vultures. And the thing that really bothers me, Anderson .Paak never needed Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars needed Anderson .Paak. Because Anderson .Paak has more talent in his last bowel movement than Bruno Mars has ever had. It's okay.
I'm looking. I hear you. I never stopped looking. I was just looking at an image. I never realized he very much looks half Korean. It's so obvious. Maybe my bias is kicking in, but he looks. I did not know that. I've been educated on a few things.
Oh yeah.
All right. So look, here's what we got to do in order to have this conversation adequately, so we can actually get somewhere. You have to do something for me. Anything. I need you to define vulture. Define vulture.
A vulture is a predatory bird that in desert environments will wait until its prey is incapacitated, cannot do anything, and it will pick off the best pieces so that it can eat at the expense of its victim. A culture vulture does the same thing to foundational Black American artists. Now, here's the thing that's really going to fry your noodle. Do you know what label Bruno Mars is signed to?
I have no idea.
Of course you don't. Atlantic.
Okay.
And you ever hear that song? We got it dripping in finesse. It don't make no sense out here dripping in finesse.
Sounds
You
super
know.
familiar.
Yeah,
Of course.
because have you seen that video? No, of course not. Because he's dressed like how they were dressed in the beginning of In Living Color, and the same way they and again, Nicki Minaj is not a foundational Black American, but she does not have the same complexion for the protection for the collection like Cardi B does. So they grabbed the label mate, they slapped Bruno on it, and then all of a sudden, Cardi B is skyrocketing beyond what she was doing beforehand. Not only that, when it comes to the definition of a vulture, I have 2 daughters. My oldest is 26. My youngest is 11. Judge your mother. I only have 2 children. There's a gap there. I get it. Calm down. Meanwhile, I told my oldest when she was 15, I said, by the time you're my age, I said, and I was around 40 or so. I said, by the time you're my age, the idea of a Black rapper is going to be as weird sounding as Lenny Kravitz and Slash are to rock and roll. I said, I've seen it happen, and it's happening because I'm sorry. All my brags turn to facts. All my understood, like SUV's Black on Black was my brother, God rest his soul, one of his favorite songs of the modern era. I'm not saying Jack Harlow's not talented. I don't like no whips and chains. Oh, that's a sample from Black Man. Never mind. They benefit because they can do with our music what we're not allowed to do. Period, point blank. And until you also have to understand that I'm not just blaming the artist here. I'm blaming the people and the machine behind the artist that will, in this day and age, market to a point where there's billboards, bus backs, social media campaigns, TV crossovers, TV show appearances, reality show background music, which was unheard of 5 years ago to put commercial music as reality show background music, but it's a commonplace thing as these companies start to do what was in the 2005 movie Idiocracy. They're starting to merge into mega conglomerate corporations. Leor Cohen invented the 360 deal. Who gets screwed by 360 deals more than Black people? Don't worry, I'll wait. Nobody, right? Scooter Braun, culture vulture. Poor, and I can't believe I'm fixing my mouth to say this, poor Justin Bieber as a child who was victimized and lost his innocence. Luckily for me, it was a woman, but still it's just as traumatic because that never gets reported, that's celebrated. Poor Justin Bieber for what Scooter Braun did to him. I'm sorry. Like, we got to understand. I will give you an example. 2001. Bow Wow owns urban radio for 12 to 24-year-olds, period, point blank. He owns what we would call Churban in those days, which is half top 40, half Black radio, which became urban. I'm talking to the vice president of Jive Records at the time, and he would visit me. This is when I lived at Camp Lejeune. This is the summer before 9/11. I know I'm dating myself. Stay with me. I said, it's funny. Bow Wow is killing it for Columbia with So So Def. Little Romeo is giving an entirely younger audience exposure to No Limit for Universal. What the hell is Jive doing? Where is your little kid rapper? And he was like, oh, we got the greatest little kid rapper of all time. I said, who? He said, Aaron Carter. You see what they did to Aaron Carter, don't you? All of the people behind the people who are vulturing are like the big bad vultures. They are the Thanos of vultures. So I define a culture vulture as anybody who participates in our culture and does not only give credit, because credit is not enough. They need to pay what they weigh. I'm so sick of these gangsters talking about people need to check in. How come y'all ain't going to Leor Cohen's office and have him check in? Left Eye more gangster than a lot of these BECs and GDs out here because she ran up on Clive Davis's, and that's another vulture. You think Diddy invented the freak off? Wait, we're not ready for that conversation. I land.
All right, look. So, all right, here's where we run into a few issues. First off, that definition is beautiful, and it adequately applies perfectly. What I wrote, it sounds like what you said was, a vulture is a predatory bird in a desert environment that waits till its prey is incapacitated and picks off the best pieces from its victim.
Correct.
And I think that's perfect, because that's exactly what culture vultures do. They pick the best elements of whatever the culture that they want to assume, and you know, and then at that point they try to assume it as their own, to their benefit, at the expense of the people that they're doing it from. So when Elvis Presley was stealing music from Chuck Berry, you know, at the time, I think Chuck Berry might have been in prison for some of it. So then he didn't even have the ability to sue him for that until after he got out. But he used it to his benefit, took one of the biggest songs, literally became one of the biggest songs in the world, that was like dang near note for note, word for word, exactly what Chuck Berry did. So he did steal that. So I get that. And I think stealing is where, the biggest problem comes into play, because I think I have to make always a distinction between someone who is just stealing and appropriating versus someone who was kind of, again, raised on that culture. Because like you were absolutely accurate, one of the biggest performances he did was Elvis Presley back then, but he also very much imitated James Brown during that same time period. So that was, one of our greatest soul artists of that same time period. Furthermore, in all of his interviews, he always credits his influences as being Stevie Wonder, Prince, Michael Jackson, and other black artists. On top of that, when because like a lot of music, like you're 100% right, I think is stolen. If you listen to Uptown Funk You Up, I've never heard really people make this comparison. It is almost identical to Michael Jackson's Jam. Even the brass line, and he does a different brass line, same chords, two different chords, whatever. I can play on the piano right now. It's literally almost identical. You could just, if I was to take the instrumental from Uptown Funk You Up and put Jam on it, it literally fits. Some of the same hits, some of the same composition style. So it's very obviously that. But the distinction is, I don't consider that to be stealing. And the reason why I don't consider it to be stealing is because it's homage, and he identifies it as such. On that album, 24 Karat Magic, I totally agree with you. None of those songs are fully original because they're almost all like ripoffs. But what he did say point blank, this album was specifically homage to 80s and 90s R&B. That's what he specifically said. And of course, who dominated R&B at that time more than Teddy Riley? He shares my last name, no relation. So when you look at that and you see he's paying homage, I don't know any way that an artist could pay homage without being called a vulture in that way. Without a doubt, like Drake, he is ambiguous in the sense that he will go from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. Because his latest album is like super Spanish influence, but they're not going to go for it the same way black folks do. Black folks invite everybody to the cookout, and Hispanic people are a lot more selective. I wish we could imitate at least that thing. So he did steal a lot of music. There's no doubt about it. Anderson .Paak, very black presenting, even though he is obviously half Asian, very black presenting man. And the other thing that I would say that makes him not as much of not a vulture is because he does raise people's profile. Without a doubt, Anderson .Paak benefited from Silk Sonic. Without a doubt, Bruno Mars benefited from Silk Sonic. They had a somewhat symbiotic benefits there. The fact of the matter is, though, Paak's profile, even though I think he is significantly more talented than pretty much most producers in the game right now, like literal actual musician that literally plays the drums on his own tracks, lays them out. He's a studio musician, a composer, a writer, singer, all of it. So that the Anderson .Paak is one of the most talented individuals in existence. What he did when he joined Bruno Mars, because Bruno Mars, like you said, he has that complexion for the protection. Without a doubt, people are looking for black music on white faces. That someone had pointed out, when you look at someone like what's his face, Tyrese, and he drops that song Shame, with Jennifer Hudson, and the song didn't go into the 50 million, 100 million range, the way it's supposed to, even though I think it's one of the most fantastic songs that was released in that year. If a white person was to do that exact same song, the song will go crazy. White people are allowed to be mediocre. Black people have always had to be above and beyond. That's why Adele, I love her, great artist, whatever, not in my opinion, one of the greatest singers, good songwriter, but not one of the greatest singers of all time. But people put her in that echelon, even though that's not her strong suit. It's the whole package. It's a strong suit. It's not her voice, but people try to label her that way because, you know, white mediocrity is just always going to be elevated to a whole nother level. What distinguishes Bruno Mars from other culture vultures is, again, these were influences that he was raised with. You know, he was raised in a mixed family, you know, and whatever. And he heard this music from his youth. His mother was a musician. His father was a musician. They played a lot of this, whatever. This is where he got these Elvis influences and this James Brown influences and the Stevie Wonder. His parents grew up on that music as musicians. Stevie Wonder was one of the most prolific musicians of all time. Michael Jackson, one of the most prolific musicians of all time. So if you're raised in a household where you're hearing this influence and you're hearing this music, that's what you're going to grow up like. That's going to be your influence. And sure, he definitely has mixed it up a lot. He does all of these different genres. I do the same exact thing. My very first album ever was a synthwave album. It was called Retro Future. The very next album I did was a cinematic album, stuff literally intended for music, for movie scores, called Soundscapes. The very next album was a piano album. Then the very next album was a pop album. I'm extremely diverse because I grew up with listening to so much diverse music from all of my siblings, because they would sneak and listen to secular music, and I got to hear all of it. I'm the youngest of 7. So
your parents was
we didn't have TV. I told you it was
his ass.
I told you they wouldn't allow television, so you got to find something to do. 7 kids.
Oh, clear, 7 kids.
There you go. But you know, if you look at it, so it's like when all of that influences why my music is so very diverse. Why, like, I can play any genre of music. I listen to any genre of music because all of them are diverse. And so in the same sense, he listens to all of this different music, which is why all of his albums are so very diverse. Some albums are going to be very pop oriented. Some albums are going to be very whatever. You know, and he's just a talented nigga. So again, it's just I land with this. Typically at the end, when you're trying to label someone as a vulture, there's like a malicious thing to it. Typically there's something where it feels like that they knowingly are taking from something, not trying to give credit, not trying to honor. It's completely unfounded. There's no foundation to what they're doing. They're just taking the pieces of it while not truly understanding and venerating the legacy. And I just don't feel like Bruno Mars does that, because of the fact that, like I said, he always gives credit. I think him benefiting Anderson .Paak in the way that he did, I think was also beneficial. So again, culture is just, I think, too negative of that. Without a doubt, he has benefits and protection. Being a person that is not black doing black music, the music is going to soar more. But I just don't think he has the negative intentions. I can't know his intentions, but it just, because of just his constant homage and constant signal boosting of where he got his influence, it's hard for me to call it vulturing.
I understand, and I respect that it's hard for you to call it vulturing. Unfortunately for you, it's not hard for me. He's a vulture, because here's what I mean. I will give you an example. I got a lot of stories because I grew up in this business. 1991. If you've ever heard of Welcome America, which takes place on the Parkway here in Philadelphia, or any of the Roots Picnic, all that type of stuff. My uncle, my father's kid brother, Kearney Anderson, created what, that model using Philadelphia. We had a thing called Unity Day. And one of the things I would do, just because I loved radio and I love music so much, my uncle would have me be like the gopher for celebrities. And so it's like 1991, 1992. Don't hold me to the year, but definitely early 90s, because I couldn't have been no more than 14, 15 years old. And I'm in the Embassy Suites with CeCe Peniston, Elder Barge, Aaron Hall, Jamie Foxx. There are other people there, but I'm not going to mention who those people were, just for anonymity and image sake. But those people, they've heard me tell the story before. Aaron Hall was, as we say in the hood, effing up the rotation. And Elder Barge looks at him and says, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "That biatch, R. Kelly, stole my style." And the room went silent. The room went silent. Elder Barge looks at an icon who I will not name, who may or may not resemble Nicki Minaj, but Nicki Minaj wasn't even, I don't even think she was born yet, so I think you know who I'm talking about, but I will not say her name. She looks at El DeBarge, and El DeBarge, without batting an eye, said, "You stole everything from Rick James. Now pass me that damn joint." That is influence. There is a pattern. I'll do you one better. When it comes to R. Kelly, and I think what happened to R. Kelly is really some horse. But again, that's what, again, like you said, nobody goes clean. I'm gonna sing you what I consider to be an R. Kelly song. Soon as we get started making love, going hard, I hear a knock, knock, knocking on the wall. And as soon as I go deep, getting it in, then again, there's a... That is Trey Songz doing his R. Kelly impersonation. That is influence. That is homage. That is the natural course of things. And that is foundationally Black. We build upon, standing upon the shoulders of giants. You have never once seen a situation where when we cover a song that isn't ours, does not come from our culture, where we still don't put our culture on it. I will give you an example. Why can't I? You familiar with Frankie Valli?
The white guy. The Italian dude. Good music.
Good music. Mm-hmm. Still Black music, but good music nonetheless. I mean, he was influenced. Frankie Valli went to the label who thought he was washed up, over with this, that, and the third, and he wanted to do this big band thing, and he had to fund a lot of it himself. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. When Lauryn Hill sings it, there is a difference, but she still acknowledges where she got the song from. This dude will take bits and pieces of different songs. For example, Versace on the Floor is made up of the Jets' Make It Real, Polynesian, I'll Let You Have That One. But the actual, that's Jeffrey Osborne, You Should Be Mine, aka the Woo Woo song. All he does, and see, the thing of it is, there's a book called Still Like an Artist. I don't mind influence. If you listen to my album, you can see where my influences are. You can see that I'm really big on boom bap hip hop. I grew up on KRS-One. A lot of my flow sounds a lot like Nas. I'm not stealing any lyrics from Nas, but I will tell you that I am influenced from Nas. I'm influenced by Jay-Z. I'm influenced by a lot of different things. I'm influenced by Teddy Pendergrass. My wife loves Kim. So when I did my Yacht Rock song, I had Kim in my mind. And the funny thing is, I introduced my wife to Kim. Kim is a tiny little man, and he's very, very shy. And my wife was starstruck, and she was very, very shy. So I had nothing. I wasn't worried about Kim stealing my chick. But I say all that to say, there is still a, almost, for lack of a better term, the Africans call it a Sankofa type of situation, where you're going back and saying, this is where this comes from, in a way where you're still putting something of you on it. Everything that Bruno Mars does sounds like somebody decided to get happy in the DJ booth at the karaoke night on the cruise and call it a day. It's great karaoke. He's a fun little entertainer. He's extremely talented. But why do you have to dress up like me? Why you got to nap your hair up like me? Why you got to dress as what you think my daddy would have worn? Why do you have to put on all of these theatrics? It's why they get so... Bruno Mars is why these white folks are so comfortable. You think I'm lying? What did Jack Harlow just say? Oh, this album, I went blacker. That is vulturing. And vulturing stinks from the fitch's head all the way down. Period, point blank. I'm going to put the link up for people who want to come up and holler at your boy.
Okay.
I'll land on that.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing. I do think he puts his own on it. Because it's
Where's
all
the Polynesian influences on any of his songs? Please point it out.
It's not just okay. See,
because he's Polynesian. Like when you listen to his sister's records, have you ever heard any of his sister's records?
No, I haven't.
They sound like Polynesian pop. You can hear the influence. You can hear the ukuleles. There's a part of that. So I don't hear none of that from Bruno. None. Miguel is half Mexican and half Black, and he will tell you because his daddy was a handyman, and the only way he could get his daddy's attention because his daddy was obsessed with Prince. But Miguel is Black. You understand what I'm saying? So he started singing like Prince, but you still hear the Mexican influences. Where is the Polynesian influences on Bruno Mars? I don't see him with any tribal tattoos, which, you know, I don't see him with none of that. I don't see him with any, I ain't seen him with a pineapple yet.
Wait,
I'm just saying.
Because
Come on.
his dad is Puerto Rican.
No. That is a lie. His father is half Puerto Rican and half Jewish. And the Puerto Rican that he is white facing Puerto Rican.
Sure,
He is not Moreno.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just
He's
saying
a half Puerto Rican Jew. So
Okay.
to put that another way, so you got a half Puerto Rican Jew on one side, and his mama's Polynesian.
His mom is Filipino.
Polynesian.
Is that considered Polynesian?
Pacific Islander, Polynesian, Samoan. Like, I mean, we could do it all day.
I mean, you know, I mean, all those, you know, you talking about, you know, Kiribati and or they call it Kiribati, Tuvalu, Tonga, all of those Samoa, Marshall Islands. That's not the same as the Philippines. The Philippines. I don't think we ever considered them the same as Polynesian. Am I tripping?
I will say this. When you look at, and I've said this before on plenty of shows, when you look at Amazon Prime, you can Google this when you got nothing better to do. When they do Asian Pacific Islander Month, do you know who's at the face of it? Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars is a Pacific Islander according to his own cultural definition. So Polynesian, Tongan, Samoan, any way you slice it, he considers himself Polynesian. He considers himself Pacific Islander. Pacific Islanders are in the same class as Asian. That's how we identify them. That is how, when they are represented in the Congressional Asian Pacific Island American Caucus,
API,
that's how they represent. That's how they're represented. He's Polynesian. He's Pacific Islander. He ain't black. AAPI is a real thing.
I feel you. Okay, here's the deal. So what I you know, it's hard. I feel like what he does is, because it's not like with any modern music, there's this thing that people talk about that happened, right? Culturally. If you look at like and you take anyone in a decade of the 60s and you just put them in the typical garb and, you know, the way they present themselves, hairstyle and all that stuff of the 60s, you immediately can identify this is the person from the 60s. And the same for the 70s, same for the 80s, same for the 90s. And then after the 90s, you don't get to see that the same. So you take someone from the 2000s and it doesn't look very, very different from the 90s. You take someone from the 2010s, it doesn't look very different from the 2000s and the 90s. We stopped evolving in that way. And in the same sense, whereas when you had back in the day, all of this music that like really hit these very specific pockets that were very identifiable, very distinct, that disappeared. So then now people who grow up today, they're going to be growing up in a lot there's going to be a lot more mixed influence because culture is a lot more, it's a lot less segregated, right? And so then because of that, when we're saying, hey, we want you to identify or really present something in such a way that is so very culturally distinct, when those cultural distinctions don't exist to the same degree, I feel like it's a little bit unfair. For instance, if you take someone Bruno Mars's age, I think he's slightly younger than I am. If you take someone, you know, his age and you say, what type of music did you grow up in? At this point now, hip hop, the most successful genre of all time. I think it's only been surpassed by EDM right now. But you know, but obviously he's the most 40. Culturally influential. Okay, he's 1 year younger than me. So if you take Bruno Mars, like myself, and you say, okay, what music did you grow up listening to? Again, Teddy Pendergrass took R&B to Korea. Right? Like
certainly
R&B has been all over the freaking world. Black music, specifically foundational black music, literally spread across the globe. So then
number one export in America. Absolutely. I get that. Of course,
all black culture is. So then in that case, it's really hard to be like, hey, where's your influence? When it's like, well, in reality, my influence was the stuff that I was growing up on. Like he said, he grew up listening to a lot of Stevie Wonder. He grew up listening to a lot of Prince. He grew up listening to a lot of Michael Jackson. Now, can we find Michael Jackson influence in his stuff? Absolutely. Can we find Stevie Wonder influence and stuff? Absolutely. Can we find Prince influence? Of course. And so it's like, yes, all of these cultures and things like that are being taken in a way, but Again, I do believe this was his genuine influence to be performing this type of music at 7 years old to the degree that he was clearly indicates that this stuff was in him, even if it wasn't something that might have been natural. Maybe it could have been imposed. Maybe his parents are forcing you to to engage with this culture. But the fact of the matter is, this is your culture. If at 7 years old your greatest influences are Elvis Presley and James Brown at 7, then yeah, it's hard for me to then say when you're doing James Brown and whatever music that's not who you are. This is not what you grew up listening to. I'll say that. There was a few things that you touched on.
Sure.
I wanted to say something about the R. Kelly thing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. R. Kelly was absolutely done wrong. That was not a RICO case. Nothing bothers me more than to misuse and a miscarriage of justice. You don't apply it inappropriately. If you want to get somebody for something that they did, because I do believe R. Kelly did some heinous things. I think I saw that tape with my own eyeballs. Get him for what he actually did. Don't misinterpret and misuse the law and to inappropriately charge someone with something that they didn't do. Get him for what he did, if that's what you want to get him for. But don't sit here and lie. And that's what they did. And it bothers me, even when it came to Diddy. I think Diddy might have done some atrocities, stuff that is standard in the business, by the way. Which just whenever it's a black person, we want to prosecute those people for that. The thing that
when they fall out of line. Yep.
Right, exactly. Because now he decided to sue that company for the liquor, and now all of a sudden we got this Cassie lawsuit. Now we got to knock you down a peg. We don't let black people get up at it. Same way how Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC, and now all of a sudden we decide, hey, we want to go ahead and go for you with these whatever. And he also criticized Trump right before Trump ran for office. I think Trump paid for it. But that's a whole other conversation. We don't get into that. My point being, with Diddy, they used the Mann Act, which was a racist act from the very beginning. Literally racially intended, very obvious, right? They literally said it was specifically to get a person that they couldn't get originally. So Jack Johnson. So with all that being said, they misuse laws. Transporting for prostitution is insane. What are we talking about? Like, that's just freaking crazy. There are things that you could have probably gotten them from. The problem is you probably couldn't have got the evidence to get them for those things. So you decided to miscarriage the justice. You decided to cheat in order to get these people. On top of the fact that they literally use. I'm just not getting to that. So I just wanted to touch on that thing. That was it. I do believe he put some of his own on it, and I think his own, because he was born in this era, is that. Just to bring it home a little bit more.
Sure.
When it comes to stuff like Retro Future, that's an album that I did. It's retro music, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not literally analog made; it's digital made.
Of course.
I make my music on my computer.
Same.
Now, I try my best to use as much retro influence. But if a person listens to the album today, they're not going to say, this sounds like you made it in the 70s. They can say it's influenced by 70s and 80s, like, you know what I'm saying, synthwave and synth music. They can see that. But it's almost impossible to truly get organic analog sound. So in the same sense, Bruno Mars making modern music with modern musicians and modern producers, because he's not producing it all himself, it's really going to be hard to get that analog whatever. So what he's doing is he's modernizing these influences that meant everything to him. That's what it sounds like to me.
I love the fact that you're such an apologist for this man. But before I get there, I want to acknowledge you. Oh, you are. But I'm gonna let you breathe. We gotta get to these super chats. I'm gonna let you marinate in your caping for Bruno. I'm gonna let you just have it for a second. Lincoln Ward with the $5 super chat says, if you take the instrumentals from Silk Sonic's cover and lay the Drew Hill vocals on it, you've got a perfect track. I will agree with that. Man. You about to make me go buy some new turntables and do just that, just for that. Thank you for the super chat. Power Players Magazine, $4 super chat said, peace to the God. Peace, homie. Appreciate you very much. Lincoln Ward says, I think Bruno is the reverse Pink. The label wanted him to do white tea pop music. He wanted to do the music he grew up loving. That's so sweet. I mean, the capes y'all have for this mediocre man, because we still have not refuted the fact that this man literally changed up his whole steez when he saw what Janelle Monáe was doing. We're just not going to have that conversation. We're also not going to talk about how phenomenal it is that he can use. You know why I respect Eminem? Though I'm not the first king of controversy, I am the worst thing since Elvis Presley to use black music so selfishly and use it to get myself wealthy. Hey, at least he can admit it. Bruno Mars, and here's my issue with somebody like Bruno Mars, and this is why he will always be a culture vulture to me as a musician, as a broadcast professional, as a person that has decided to hit records, as a person that carries a whole lot of guilt when it comes to begging Blackground Records to put out Rock the Boat because it was a stronger record than More Than a Woman. And I wasn't doing it. Was just like 100 of us programmers was like, yo, no, we're playing Rock the Boat because More Than a Woman is not testing as well. If we hadn't done that, but I digress. I'm a kid of a certain age now, and I got to get used to the fact that I have an adult child. But there's a part of me that still feels, and except for when my knees and my back start aching right before it rains, that I'm still very, very young. But I can remember when I was a kid, there was a white dude that had R&B in the chokehold. I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore. I keep forgetting things will never be the same again. Michael McDonald. Even with the Doobie Brothers, my mom was like, yeah, that's Michael McDonald from the Doobie Brothers. I said, wait. He white? She said, yeah. I said, you mean to tell me the Doobie Brothers ain't brothers? Now keep in mind, I'm a goober. So mind blown. Never once did Michael McDonald dress up like a Negro. My wife watches a lot of Ryan Murphy shows, right? There's a show called Beauty. I don't know if you've seen it. But in that show, there's a Puerto Rican kid who reminds me of if somebody had cloned John Leguizamo. He's of that ilk. I can't call his name. He was in the Transformers movie. I can't call his name to save my life. Anywho, he plays this assassin and he starts to tell this story. Almost Quentin Tarantino monologue from Kill Bill type of situation where David Carradine is talking about the difference between Clark Kent and Superman. He starts talking about Christopher Cross. You familiar with Christopher Cross, right?
Of course. I tell you everything about him.
I love Christopher Cross. But he talks about how Christopher Cross was one of the first victims of the music video era.
I just watched a whole thing on that. It was like an hour long.
I love Christopher Cross. I don't think y'all understand that man. But here's the thing. Even at 76 years old, I ain't never seen Christopher Cross dress up like a Negro or what he believes the Negro to do. Every time I've seen Bruno Mars, even from when he was young, he always dressed up like whoever he was impersonating. When he was doing James Brown stuff, he dressed up like James Brown. When he was doing Elvis stuff, he dressed up like Elvis. When he was doing black stuff, he dressed up like black people. That's why they keep doing this. And we act like it's homage and we act like it's fun and we act like it's safe, but it is not. And that's why our culture is being gentrified bit by bit by bit. And when I was coming up, it's so funny because Lance just said yacht rock is basically R&B soul music by white folks. But in the 80s, we ain't call it yacht rock. There was no such thing. That's a relatively new term. We called it blue-eyed soul because every last one of them knew where the line was. Every last one of them was still, like when they would go on tour, the band was black, the drummers were black, the background singers were black. It was a different type of ball game. There was a direct line economically and culturally that still directly influenced us. What happens with Bruno Mars, and this part is not his fault, but it is a fact. Bruno Mars is the Trojan horse that the palm-colored people use to infiltrate our music and make it okay because we're like, oh, he's cool. He can come to the cookout. And if you foundational Black American Negroes don't stop with this cookout mess, the only cookout is my check. That's it. Because all they're doing, like I said on my album, is stealing plates. That's why you got people cosplaying like us and becoming vice president. Never mind. I'm gonna land there. Go on ahead and tell me how it's okay for him to dress up like black people, and that's also paying homage, even though it's cosplay. But go ahead, please.
All right. I mean, it's hard because look. When you mentioned like that he kind of jocked the style of Janelle Monáe, right? Like he
kind of. Okay.
No. Go ahead.
You go ahead and rock. I'm going to go pull up pictures so that I can go ahead and bury you. But no, please.
Okay.
You have the floor. I'm muting. You go ahead. You got.
He got triggered a little bit, but look, is that all right? Janelle Monáe.
I got triggered a lot, but go ahead.
Okay. What Janelle Monáe was doing, she was like paying homage herself, right? Like she was doing the same tuxedo, all that stuff, like literally doing like a style and image with big band and all that stuff, like literally paying homage to James Brown and Prince. Like that's what she was doing on her tour. So at the same time, when Bruno Mars is now like, hey, I'm doing these same things that I've done as a younger artist. In the beginning, when he first got into the game, he had to do pop music. That's what the labels wanted from him, and he did it. So that's why he's doing, When I See Your Face, it's blah, 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 all that stuff, right? I want to be a millionaire, so effing bad. He's doing all these really very simple pop music, right? But then as soon as today I'm not doing anything, right? It's all just simple pop music, right? It sounds almost Justin Bieber-esque. But as soon as he gets into the game and he's like now established himself and he gets to do what he wants to do, he then starts going and doing his own stuff. So, then he did the Doo-Wop and Hooligans album, right? In 2010-ish. That was like super duper like inspired, like vintage stuff, right? Like that's what that was. This is before he did the tour with Janelle Monáe. So he's already doing this retro thing that he wanted to do. Then he does, and around that same area, his next 2012 album where he's doing the funk and all of that. So then it's like now he's doing that. But when he's on the tour with Janelle Monáe, he's doing, his old stuff that he's already been doing. But then as soon as he does his next album, he's going to be even more funk and all of that stuff aligned. Because if Janelle Monáe is honoring his literal favorite artist, his greatest influence, which was James Brown, and that era, then yes, of course he's going to be able to do that. And now that he finally has his ability to do what he wants to do, he does it. So it's hard for me to look at him and say, "Oh man, you just switched it up." It's you now have the ability to do what you want to do. I mean, if people were to look at one of my very first bands that I ever started touring with and playing with, it was a country rock band. Now, I don't have a problem with country. I like country music. I like rock music. I like all genres of music. But now when I'm doing R&B, I know niggas ain't going to come at me and be like, now you just vulturing and switching it. It's like, no. I always had R&B in me. There was always something that was my favorite genre I grew up with. So it is what it is. It's just I started off doing what was paying me at the time. I'm doing what I needed to do. But the second I get my freedom and I'm able to do what I want to do, of course I feel significantly more at home doing Frankie Beverly music and doing black music. I'm a black man. That's that.
I love that for you. 2002. I feel like I'm one of the Golden Girls. Before I even get to that, let me acknowledge the super chat. Let's see here. April Showers with the $5 super chat saying, thanks for all you do. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. So there was a time, and let me take this off real quick. There was a time where Darius Rucker, who I'm sure you're very familiar with. Oh, I'm sorry. Have you ever heard of Hootie and the Blowfish? Okay. Darius Rucker decides that he wants to make an R&B album. He makes the R&B album. And I'm so excited because I got Darius Rucker in my studio. Now, keep in mind, I'm not calling him Darius Rucker. The reason I'm not calling him Darius Rucker is because I know Hootie and the Blowfish. And he said, can I ask you something as a black man? I said, yeah. He said, why y'all keep calling me Hootie? I said, when I was 3 years old, I got into my parents' record collection. And I couldn't quite read everything yet because I was only like 2-3 years old. But I remember seeing this really pretty lady, chocolate skin, beautiful ball gown, and she had 3 guys behind her. And I remember because I kept saying Gladys Knight and the Pimps, and my dad said, no, it's not Pimps, it's Pips. And I said, that's Gladys Knight, right? He said, duh, it's the only woman in the picture. There's a group, a folk rock band called Hootie and the Blowfish. There's one black guy who's the lead singer, and then there's 3 white guys. Hootie and the Blowfish. To me, it's very telling that folks don't understand that A, B, C, D, 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. Yes, I am triggered because I'm saying that until he went on that tour and saw how dope that was, of course he has a retro sound. No one's taking that away from him. But my whole thing is, where is he in his music? He's doing what he thinks we are. He's literally Superman dressing like Clark Kent. That's what he's doing, but he's doing what he thinks we do, right? At least with somebody like Robin Thicke, you can say that Robin Thicke has never dodged black music. He never grew a fro. He did cut his hair because that hippie look wasn't going for him. He looked too much like hippie white Jesus, and that's why the first album didn't take off with Pharrell. Also, the problem with Robin Thicke was that he was a spoiled little rich white kid who grew up in the industry. His father created the theme song for Price is Right, Family Feud, Different Strokes, Growing Pains. Like, Alan Thicke is a monster. And I knew Alan Thicke personally. He's a wonderful guy, but he was very R&B influenced. I never saw Alan Thicke put on a Jerry curl when he was going, show me that smile again. Don't waste another minute on your crying. I can hear every bit of Frankie Beverly in Alan Thicke's writing. I can hear every Jackie Wilson influence in the way that his son moves. I can hear that. You know what I don't see? I don't see Robin Thicke putting on a costume. Bruno Mars puts on a costume. And as a black man, I find it disrespectful. As a black man, as a black musician, as a black artist, I really don't like it. Because I think if it's genuine, if it's real, and if it's who you are, that's one thing. But every album, he becomes something else. This album, his curl is a little looser than the last time, and now he's got that funny little Spanish mustache. So he's going to lean into that Puerto Rican he has, and he's putting out this flop of a record. It's a flop. Because when you try to see, and that's the thing, he's basically Coach Klein in the Waterboard. All he's doing, he got the blueprint. Because Mama said R&B is for everybody. No, Mama's wrong again. There's something wrong with his medulla oblongata. And the second he broke away from cosplaying as us, his crap flopped, which tells you that the only thing he's really good at is impersonation. Ray Charles. If you look at the Ray movie, the thing that Ray Charles had a problem with in the beginning was that he did not have his own voice. And somebody had to pull him aside and say, yeah, you do a great Nat King Cole, but we already got a Nat King Cole. You got to find your voice. Bruno Mars has yet, in 3 albums, 10 singles that have broken the charts, he has yet to find his voice because he's so busy being absolutely everybody else. When you listen, and again, I'm not comparing myself to Bruno Mars. I think he's a much better singer than I am. I give credit where credit is due. But when you listen to my album, you can still tell that it's me. You can still tell all of my influences, but it's instinctively and distinctively me. And that's what I'm saying. All he did was imitate left, right, up, and down. But he's, you know why Sammy Davis Jr. never got any slack? Because Sammy Davis Jr. didn't have a whole lot of original songs. Like people say the Candyman. Candyman came from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. There's not a Sammy Davis Jr. song you can sing, but he's still arguably one of the greatest black performers of all time, one of the biggest crossover artists of all time, one of Michael Jackson's biggest influences, aside from James Brown and Jackie Wilson and Fred Astaire and Bob Fosse. But Sammy Davis Jr., for lack of a better term, is to music and black people what Frank Sinatra is to big band jazz and the overall Sinatra sound. And that is, they are both phenomenal song stylists. That's what Bruno Mars is. He's a song stylist. He is a culture vulture. He has nothing original because if he did, see, here's the thing, right? A real artist, number one, can be influenced, but you can't go picking it apart. It just is what it is. Prince, you're talking about somebody with a 9-octave range who played 37 instruments. He could do it all, right? The problem with Bruno is Bruno sucks when he's not doing us. Pause. He absolutely sucks when he's not cosplaying as one of us. Because let's face it, somebody sing me one of them Bruno Mars songs from the new album, other than because I already told y'all what that was. You know why you can't? Because you ain't bought it. You know why you ain't buy it? Because it sucks. And that's the thing. He's not
There's
good.
a few good ones.
Go ahead, sing it.
Risk It All. That's a good one.
Sing it.
I don't know the lyrics very well, but I could.
Thank you.
I risk it all. That one is fire.
I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Look, my memory works for music. I could play the song right now.
When I see your face.
Sure.
You can sing that though. This here's that white gold, Michelle Pfeiffer. That. Come on, man. Let's not play like you don't have Bruno Mars songs committed to memory. But this heaping pile of dog dung.
Then the one with the other one that's on there too. That's like that
see the other one. You see how you can't you can't.
No, I'm terrible. You look what my brain works with music. If I hear a song, I'm saying like no. Follow me. If I hear a song, I will never forget that song in the sense that you can play a song for me right now and then never let me hear it again. And then 30 years from now, tell me to play that song. I can still play that song. I'll never forget the music,
right?
But I don't remember words. I don't remember names. I'm terrible at that. But as far as like the musicality of it, so the one that he did with Lady Gaga, I could play it, but I don't know the name of it. If the
world was ending, I want to be next to you.
There we go. That one. Everyone
Great
knows
song.
that one. That one's super huge. Risk
50
It All.
It's great. But that again, that's not on this album.
That was not on this one?
No, that was the album before. That I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that was from 50 Shades of Grey. Hold on. I don't like to be I like to make sure. I'm a big believer in facts. Die with a Smile. Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. Let me see. What is this song from? Die with a Smile. Isn't that from let me see, hold on. Let me see, hold on. Yeah. It's it was released as a 2024 duet. So yeah, it's not on this album. Because this 2026.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It's only one song on there. It's just Risk It All.
Thank you. But I mean, again.
Oh, wait, actually, no, I just might. And here's what's gross. I can't.
Oh, you mean you make me feel like dancing.
Yeah,
come on, man.
That's it. Those are the only two songs on the album. So, and here, look, this is that speaks to my point, right? Because again, Black people are the most accepting, loving, forgiving,
putting on a cape for people who ain't us while dragging us through the mud, which is what you're doing.
I'm not, because look, here's the deal. At the end of the day, like
I'm about to find you a cape.
Nah, bro, you can't do that to me. Because listen, what I'm saying is, ultimately, I'm always going to support Black music. I listened to this album. I listened to all of Bruno Mars albums late, right? I don't even know his whole discography. I didn't. If you would have told me, like for instance, there's they were talking about, because I'm looking this stuff up in real time just to kind of confirm, right? Sure. And they were talking about his Runaway Baby album, right? And I mean his Runaway Baby performance. I don't even know what this song sounds like, but it's something apparently that he performed at the Grammys in 2012, and it is where he was like heavily James Brown influenced. This is prior to his Janelle Monáe stuff. Him wearing the pompadour, like, you know, in his hair, prior to Janelle Monáe. Clearly has all the brass instruments and all that stuff on the stage. Clearly before he ever did a tour with Janelle Monáe. Now, the only reason why I know this is because I looked it up just now, because I couldn't have told you most of this stuff off the thing. I didn't know his dad was half Puerto Rican. I didn't know this information because I don't really know that nigga like that. I don't stand Bruno Mars. I know that specific album, 24 Karat, like that one. I know that album, but besides that, I don't even. I listened to his latest album once because everyone said it flopped. And one day I was just making a road trip for about an hour and a half. And I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and play this album once. And I did. And the only song that I can remember from that album that was noteworthy was Risk It All. The rest of it, he was trying to do the Latin influence thing, but Latin people aren't going to accept you like Black people will. So they're going to course reject you very, very quickly. That's why.
And the music not as good. Let's just call it what it is. Regardless of whether Latin people accept him or not, the music is not as good. I can give credit where credit is due.
So you're probably right.
It's not as good.
You're probably right. I wasn't a big fan of it because Black music is the best music on the planet. So if you're imitating Michael Jackson, of course you're getting better music. If you're imitating Stevie and Prince and freaking James Brown, of course you're getting the best music of all time. So yeah, no, you're never gonna get that doing some Latin music. And I like Latin music, some of it. You know what I mean? I love me some Hispanic music. I can sing some songs word to word. You know what I mean in Spanish. The fact of the matter is, like, yeah, this album is just ain't gonna hit the same. It's for a totally different demographic that I'm not particularly keen on, and that don't do nothing special for me. And I don't think he did anything really. It seemed like almost kind of like a lazy, dialed-in album. That's what it felt like to me. But that first song, that first one, that Risk It All, I hear it now while I'm out at like restaurants and stuff. When I'm chilling, I'm hearing it in grocery store, all that. Like you hear that song. That album was on that song. That was the one I sent to my mother. I was like, hey mom, this is something that this is literally up your alley, because my mom loves Luis Miguel. So I was like, let me play this for her. And of course, she was like, oh, this is everything that I like in music. I said, I know, because I know my mom's musical taste. She was one of my greatest musical influences as a kid. Point being, Bruno Mars does switch up his style a lot. It is something that he does. And I don't think, but I think it's the same way that we say Beyonce switches up her style, because Beyonce's music has evolved. Originally, when she first came out, she was R&B. That was my favorite Beyonce era. You won't tell me what's it called? Me, Myself, and I, and one of the greatest R&B songs of all time. It is for me. I love that song. I love that. But then, she decided on her next album on that B-Day thing, she was all over the place. She touched on everything. What's her name? A-Marie did that Go-Go, and she said, with one thing, and then Beyonce said, "Oh, a green light."
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
Green
absolutely.
light. And she's
always been on A. Marie's head. When A. Marie, Rihanna, and Tierra Marie did that Destiny's Child performance in front of Destiny's Child and sounded better than Destiny's Child.
I don't even know about. You're gonna have to show me that. Which one is that? Just tell me which one. I'm gonna look it up for later.
Oh, I don't remember where it was, but I trust me, they had some looks on their face like, oh crap. And at that time, both Rihanna and Tierra Marie were signed, and then all of a sudden, Tierra Marie just fell off.
They did lose my breath. I'm gonna look that up. Ugh.
Yeah. So, but again, it's a different thing. And for me personally, I think there's something called and I don't know why you I'm starting to sound like Roland Martin because I can't think straight. Chaos Rain, I don't know why you dropped. You can come back up here. I'm about to wrap up with Fanatic now, but what was I going to say? Oh, boo! Get your homeboy. He probably studying. He'd probably because he was supposed to show up 2 weeks ago after he got washed and told me F my chamois. And he been studying. He got himself some flashcards. He done went and got himself some Hooked on Phonics. He done made sure his microphone worked. He's I'm not. He came for me. This is my show.
Oh God!
He came up here and got washed.
I'm gonna coach him, and I'm gonna make sure.
Oh, I know. Listen, that's what I said. Well, let me tell you something. One of my favorite rappers all time said, "Did I hear something about a crew? What they gonna do? You best to call him Mr. Babyface so he can bring out the cool in you." Like, David said, "My name is Dave, not David. I'm only David to the IRS and my mother. My name is Dave. Address me by my name. Don't do that. Be respectful." You're like, you got washed. Just deal with it. Don't come back up here for another ass whipping. At least me and Fanatic are having a really good, really balanced conversation. I think that he has an invisible cape for Bruno.
Come on, man.
You do.
Look.
You are the reason that these folks. You're the come to the cookout Negro. You're the one that's like.
No, I'm not.
You're giving this man a pass for taking our stuff.
No, see, because here's the thing. This is something that I think we're always going. You. If you ever hear me in these debate spaces, people have been calling me, what is it? They call me a black nationalist. They call me racist, that I hate every other race, because I am very, very, very Afrocentric. Like you, you have no idea.
I'm very black centric.
I use the word Afrocentric, black centric, whatever. No. I'm not. No, because I'm opposed to that too. Because if you study and know about what their mentality is towards Black Americans, it's disgusting. Like it is what it is because they've been indoctrinated by white supremacy. We have no allies. We are it. Even when you mentioned the name John Leguizamo earlier, it pissed me to freak off because when John Leguizamo was on there talking about how Hispanics created hip hop and all the nonsense.
Oh, he said illegals and Puerto Ricans built this country.
That's what he sure did. So Fat Joe can catch the same smoke. All of them. I am very, very Negro centric. Now, do I believe again? I don't think that Bruno Mars's intent is pernicious. I'll give that. That's my take. But again, to say I cape for this nigga, again, I'm telling you, I have not listened to most of his albums. I have not. When I mention those albums, like the Hooligans album, I can't name a single song on that album. I didn't listen to it, or the subsequent album. I don't listen to Bruno Mars music like that. I'm always super late to the party. I'm very selective on what I listen to. The only thing I listen to are what my friends give to me. I will listen to my same playlist and my same music every day. But if someone tells me here's something new to listen to, and they hand me something because they know that I'm gonna like it, then I listen to it. That's how most of my friends are close with me because they know how much I love being shared music. Because otherwise, I'm not gambling. So I don't know Bruno Mars like that. I listen to Silk Sonic because Anderson .Paak, and it was just a fire. Like the single that did catch my attention was so amazing that I had to listen to that album. I don't think nobody else really that's not Black really does it to the degree that he does. So, but ultimately, you can say I'm caping for this nigga, but I'm just saying I think there's a very clear difference between what he's doing and what Jack Harlow's doing. What he's doing and what what's that one? The other vulture. What's his name? I was never a fan of Eminem.
Look at their faces.
Yeah, Post Malone.
Look, can you see the screen?
I did. I am looking.
Look, I can't play it because listen, Beyonce done come after me more than one time, and I don't want to have to call her daddy. But I'm just saying, you can look and see. Listen,
just looking at this
aesthetically, look. They were shook it. Shook it.
Hey, this is crazy.
Shook it. And just wait till they go to the audience. I want y'all to see how shook it they were. And if you can't beat them, eliminate them.
They're gonna do that.
That's what I'm saying. The only one they couldn't get rid of was Rihanna.
She's competitive. Did you also notice, by the way, how while we're watching this, they went for the same time right after they went after P. Diddy. Remember they went for Jay-Z and came with that bold-faced lie that was proven wrong on literally every freaking account. It's just Jay-Z has enough wealth and enough power that he was able to fight against the nonsense that these people do.
Well, he did, and I tell people all the time, like if you feel that froggy, let's go. Listen, sue me because I want everything to come out in discovery.
100%. I love that. That was my favorite part of it. If this is truly as heinous as you're saying it is, then you should want this to go to trial, right? I want it to go to trial.
Look. So uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They're trying to act like they like it, but they're very uncomfortable.
That was that public smile. That's that public smile.
Yeah, it's like, look. So it's like, damn, I just got here. They could replace me with one of them. She's thinking it.
Yeah.
She saw how quick they get replaced. I'm just saying, like,
nah, for sure. And I know I'm not taking no shots at Michelle Williams. God bless her. God bless her.
No, Michelle Williams is more of a background singer. She's more of a Broadway singer. Yeah. And I think they played in Michelle Williams' face because I think she is brilliantly talented.
Oh, yeah. For that lane. But that was that, But either way, it don't matter. The greatest selling, female group of all time. And I think justifiably so, that music was absolutely fantastic. Beyonce is one of the greatest performers of all time. I think Michael Jackson, the people making them Michael Jackson comparisons are crazy. No one will ever touch Michael Jackson as far as just his star power, his entertainment value, just who he was. There nothing can even come close. And I mean, we got some really big artists now. Chris Brown is doing it in a really amazing way. Don't ever compare that nigga to Michael Jackson. That's disrespectful. Same with Beyonce, probably doing it in one of the biggest ways. You do not compare to no Michael Jackson. It's a total different freaking lane. Nobody could ever touch that. I think it was just because of the signs of the way the times were at the time. You just can't ever imitate that. With all that being said, man, I appreciate this conversation.
Yeah, man, appreciate you, bro. Thanks for coming up.
I'm definitely gonna hit you up, with some music. I'm gonna send you some mixtape. What's the best way to send you something? If I want to send you some tracks?
No, you good. If you want to send me some tracks, Dave at davidbusinessbullyshow.com. Where is the damn thing? Because any other time my damn email. Oh, there it is. There it is. davidbusinessbullyshow.com.
Okay, David Business Bully Show.
.com. Yes, sir. It's on your screen.
Okay,
yes,
I'm gonna do that. And what about would you ever do like a panel show? If we were talking about some political stuff, you know, I tend to have, you know, some pretty decent profile people on them. I wouldn't waste your time. They only last about an hour. They're contentious, but not disrespectful. I don't believe in the screaming and yelling over people. We're trying not to go, you know, lowbrow. The ideas are really what's paramount. But you know, you obviously are good at, you know, formulating thoughts and all of that. I'm wondering if you'd be willing to do that. Probably sometimes we do it on Friday around 5 p.m. and your Central Time,
Eastern.
So
yeah,
it would be about 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, you're cutting into my SmackDown time, but I watch the highlights on YouTube. It's fine. Yeah, I got no problem doing that.
Okay, I'm gonna wait until I get some really high profile guests, so it'll make sure that it's 100% worth your time, and I'll hit you up when it's time to do that. And I would email you at dave@businessbullyshow.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I appreciate you. Thanks for being here, bro.
All right, man. You have a good one,
my man. Yeah, that was lovely. I think that was great. I love those types of things. I really do. But again, if ever you feel like you want this, I'm here for it. I duck no smoke. Chaos, what up? Put your camera on.
Oh well, actually, actually, if you want me to go down, I'll go back down. You want me to go? Kind of like it.
What's up?
Yes. Good. Morning, Mr. Anderson. My question, because Michael Jackson movie just came out a week ago, and it looks like it's making plenty of money.
Yes.
The word on the street is they have not really gone too much in depth in regards to the issue with MTV. Is there some reason for that? Because if they're talking about a biopic, a new one, using I think the guy's nephew.
Yeah,
and yes. Why they left out the MTV importance that really perpetuate? Oh, they didn't leave it out?
They didn't leave it out, not at all. You have to understand, right? And let me break this down. You would have to have 6 2-hour movies to do Michael Jackson's life any type of justice.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
The other part of that is because of Janet Jackson, Randy Jackson, and Diana Ross deciding that they didn't want to be depicted in the movie for some odd reason. We have an Earth 2 version of Michael Jackson, which is why they had to. Yeah, they spent well over $15 million to do reshoots on the third act because everything there's a part where Jafar Jackson like is dressed up like the Scarecrow and the Wiz, like all that going. Cat Graham was cast as Diana Ross. All those scenes shot gone. That's why there's so much LaToya and Mike and not a whole lot of Janet and Mike. You don't see Randy and Mike. They're not even mentioned anywhere in there as if they don't even exist. Nobody even acknowledges that they're there. So they had to go back and do all of these reshoots to get that stuff off because originally the movie was about 3.5 hours or something along those lines, according to whatever sources you want to believe, Hollywood Reporter, whatever the case. So what winds up happening is they had to do all of these reshoots. And even with that, Mike Myers plays the head of Epic Records, and Michael goes in there with Bronca, who was his attorney at the time, and he says, listen, you know, there's one thing that we want, and that is MTV heavy rotation, because it's a big part of how we're going to market this record. The record is selling. At this point, you know, it'd been out for a while, but it wasn't losing any steam yet. Like Billie Jean was still the lead single, but it already sold 25 million records. I need you to think about that in terms of there's no internet.
Yep.
There's no tweets. There's no 24-hour news cycle. Most people don't have cable. Cable is a luxury, but it's starting to grow. And as it grows and expands, MTV had one black VJ, and that was it. David Bowie had campaigned. There's a whole lot of people who campaign, but what winds up happening is Michael says, listen, you know, like I really need to make this happen the same way that he understood. Like people don't understand Thriller is the greatest selling album of
all time.
Because
it's someone the Beatles Elvis.
Everybody. The thing of it is that album was Michael's revenge record because he only got 1 Grammy for Off the Wall, and Off the Wall was better than the nonsense that did win. So he said, I'm going to make a record that's completely undeniable. In order for that to happen, you got to have MTV. And so the head of Epic Records, played by Mike Myers, calls, and this actually happened. He calls, he said, listen, ain't going to be no Cyndi Lauper, ain't gonna be none of my other artists ever on MTV if you don't put Billie Jean on in the next 10 minutes in heavy rotation. So yeah, no, they didn't gloss over it. And originally, according to sources, the movie, have you seen the Michael Jackson movie yet?
No, I'm on Mexico. I'm going to watch because I'm hearing now. I had to watch it personally. That's why I want to watch nobody's reviews until I see it personally. So to know that there's certain things that they had to take out because either laws or some people don't want to be depicted on it. I'm hoping when they come out with the uncut version, maybe on some other thing, that they'll reveal the extra hour. I'm hoping. We don't know.
They're not going to do it. They're not. They should, but they can't. Because all you need is a lawsuit from Diana Ross. All you need is a lawsuit from billionaire Janet Jackson. All you need is a lawsuit from her manager / brother, Randy Jackson. No, they're not going to even risk that.
Randy want to sue them. I suppose Randy of all people, Randy, you don't want to be in there.
Let me explain this in terms that nobody wants to talk about. The reason Randy Jackson most likely does not want to be in the movie is because number one, it's Jermaine's project, right? And also the estate's project. Do you understand the tumultuous history between Randy Jackson and Jermaine Jackson?
Nope, not every Jackson. I don't know. I heard about with LaToya what she did to Michael back in the 2000s. That
but that was because her husband threatened her existence, allegedly, supposedly, for entertainment purposes only on Earth too. With this particular situation, Randy Jackson was married to a woman. They had 2 children. They broke up. Jermaine secretly married that woman, and he had 2 children. One of those children being Jafar Jackson, that went on to play Michael.
Oh, damn!
I mean, just let that sink in. So you have 4 kids that have the same mother, 2 different fathers, and the fathers are brothers. So basically, you got brother cousins and sister cousins.
That's trifling. I think.
No. Trifling is like my wife is a twin, and I remember in college, like some dude was trying to holler at my sister-in-law, and then my sister-in-law was like, no, I'm not interested, and then he tried to go holler at my wife because they're identical twins. That's trifling. Smashing your brother's wife, marrying her clandestinely, and then producing children is diabolical.
Wow. He did that? Oh, wow. I bet you they were fighting.
Yeah, I bet so. Not to mention when Jermaine don't get his way. Because even Joe Jackson said, I think Jermaine is a better singer, but he can't put it all together like Mike. He can't dance with that guitar. It's just a different level. And that has always bothered Mike. Because you can have your don't take it personal. It ain't no Thriller. It ain't no Human Nature. It ain't no Lady in My Life. It ain't no Jam. It ain't no Remember the Time. Ain't nobody coming to see you, man. So for him to be the main influence behind a Michael Jackson biopic, go look up a song called Word to the Bad.
Okay.
Go look that up. You will see how disgusting what Jermaine said about his brother was. And when he got called to the carpet on it, he said, well, he wouldn't return my calls. Jermaine is diabolical. And I think that he did this and I'm not trying to be funny. I think out of all of the next generation of Jacksons, Jafar is arguably the most talented, the closest thing to Michael we're going to get. And I said that way before he was cast to be Michael Jackson. He sounds like Mike. He moves like Mike. He's got there's something about Jafar where he's not impersonating Michael Jackson. He literally is embodying him. I will give credit where credit is due. I think Jafar Jackson should get an Oscar. I think Coleman Domingo should get an Oscar. But I think that movie is going to cause a lot more problems than even we realize at this point. But I could be wrong. But I love my brother, right? I miss my brother. I will kill you in the middle of Times Square to get 5 minutes more with my brother. I could never imagine. And my brother has had beautiful women, in his life. I never, no. When he broke up with somebody, I never was like, oh, let me get up in that. That's weird.
That's weird.
It's weird. It's weird as a brother, and it's weird as the woman that decided that she was just going to, ew. I don't really have, and I consider myself an eloquent orator. I've written 23 books, but all I can come up with is, ew. It's strange, It's weird. It is.
Wait.
Hell, like it's weird, bro. But the thing of it is, people want the mess. But I want to bring this point home before I forget. The original version of the movie was going to start at the raids of Neverland and all that other crazy stuff, and it was going to end there. But because everything had, like, yeah, nah, it's insane. Yeah, no, it's just weird.
I'm not sure what the race of the woman that
she's not foundational. I don't know what she is. Alejandra something or other. I could be wrong.
She's more Latina or maybe Indian something type.
Yeah. Okay. She's definitely Latina. Don't do that to the Indians. The Indians got enough on them right now. Look, on my album, I got a track called Hindu Hennessy, and I got Curry and the Bando. What we're not, the Indians are catching enough hell from me. They don't need to catch a stray behind Jermaine. But look up Word to the Bad. I want everybody to look up that. But yeah, man, I hope that answers your question. I think the Michael Jackson biopic is phenomenal for what it is. And there's only so much you can do when your hands are tied. It's like when they made that Aaliyah movie for Lifetime. They didn't have rights to Aaliyah songs. They had all that because the family, and when I say the family, the majority of the family, 2/3 of his children, and you know, the estate wanted this movie to happen. Antoine Fuqua, who directed Training Day, phenomenal director. But it could have been so much better. It could have been so much better. But I still 9.5 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
9.5 out of 10. And see it on the biggest screen you can see it on.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
She's Iranian. Infamous just says she's Iranian.
Iranian. Okay. All right. Yeah, well, they might have pictures of it, but like I said, I will have to go and watch for myself. I didn't want to listen to people's take. All I know is that it was making numbers, which it's supposed to. But I always want to know if it's going to be enough of the because when you do these biopics, you want to be as accurate as possible without any issues that I know these come to play. But when you put something on a screen for the whole world to see, people going to believe what they see. Then I go by what was left out from his music or anything to go back. 10,
they have all the music. They have all the music. I also want you to understand that when somebody does my life story, when I'm dead and gone, somebody does my life story, and I guarantee you they will. Hopefully they'll get somebody foundational to play me. If they get somebody who's not foundational to pay me, I want y'all to buy tickets and piss on them. But the point of it is, I think that there's always going to be a level of embellishment because every conversation is not going to be verbatim. Every scene is going to be dramatized because it's entertainment. Because it's certain things are just there to be there. Like, for example, David Ruffin never told Otis Williams, "Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis." That was an ad lib from Leon, and they just kept it in. That's nowhere in Otis's book. That's nothing. It never happened. But
it's probably a catchphrase, like this catchy.
It's a catchphrase. But here's the thing: they ain't but one original Temptation left, and it's Otis. So now I guess everybody is coming to see him. But the point of it is that's how popular it was. I'm one of the last people to interview Ike Turner before he died. And
really? Do you have it up, or is it something?
Oh no, this is I don't even have rights to it because it was during when I was doing Ricky Smiley's show.
Damn, and I'm sure Ike Turner died again. What year he died? Was it 2000? Or was it like late 90s?
In like 2008, 2009, something like that. And so we asked him. We asked him, did he actually make Anime Eat the Cake? He said, let me tell y'all something. No, hold up, wait now. See, first of all, y'all gotta understand that right there, that's some movie magic. Okay, that's some BS. That's some bull. We're like, Mr. Turner, you can't say this is morning radio. You can't say bull. You got. It's some BS. I ain't never made Anime Eat no damn cake. What I did was I gave him my name. No. Now see that right there? No. That was Larry Fishburne. That was Larry Fishburne. I didn't do that. Listen, it wasn't for me. Wouldn't be no damn rock and roll. Sit up here and we y'all be talking about no damn Tina Turner. What the hell do y'all like? Just listen. And we was like, yes, sir. You're right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's cool because it was so funny. Like you just did not get in the way at a moment. You just let him ramble, bro. But what I'm telling you is that's entertaining. Even Vanessa Bell Calloway, when Lawrence Fishburne smacked her, he put some stank on it.
Bro, did you hear that there was something floating around that when Lawrence Fishburne did that movie, he had to reflect on himself, on the outcomes of his children, that he felt he was an abuser in actual life?
Yeah,
From what I'm
absolutely.
hearing.
And then when you
And
look at
I know
Montana
because
Fishburne,
you took a role and you played a role pretty decent. I know you were actually in life were abused like that, and it make you go back.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know.
you got to look at his daughter Montana Fishburne doing a corn with Brian Pumper. So it's
You
crazy.
think that could have been out of more of his control in regards the outcome of his daughter, or if he was more involved, or that was just set in stone?
I'm going to say this as a father of daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm real big on that passage in the Bible that says, train a child in the way that they should be, and when they become an adult, they do not depart from it. If your child, according to Chris Rock, and I wholeheartedly agree, if your child winds up on the pole, you messed up. The other part of that is every parent, and this is my personal opinion, I could be wrong, every parent is going to mess their child up psychologically. My father and mother messed me up psychologically. My wife's father and mother messed her up psychologically. I'm pretty sure your father and mother messed you up psychologically, whether you realize it or not. As a father of daughters, there's only two places your daughters are going to wind up. They're either going to wind up on the pole or they're going to wind up on the couch. I'm the type of Negro where I'm aiming for the couch. That's it. I would rather you be mad at me and work it out with your therapist than be mad at me and work it out with clear heels and clappers. That's just, but what do I know?
Okay.
But,
Thank you for letting me out. I'm probably gonna watch. I'm gonna watch the movie. One last question, and
not the casting couch. My kid ain't no actor, but she directs films. But nice try. Show ass out here. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Chaos.
thanks for answering. My last question, because I just saw this a month and a half ago when I watched the last movie in theaters. I think it was Mario. There's a movie coming out with what's his name, Vivica Fox part in it, and it looked like it's a depiction of, I guess the mother is the guy and is telling her daughters to go and delete their father. I don't know if you see that.
Oh, yeah. I saw the trailer for that when I went to see the Michael Jackson movie.
Oh, okay. I saw one in Mario when they were doing the Mario, like a trailer, upcoming movie. And it's a black woman that's directed. They say that this one is going to be the one that's going to win some Grammys to outshine Sinners. Yeah, it's Oscars. Yeah, Oscars. Yeah, sorry, Oscar. To outshine Sinners, and said that this might take home an Oscar. And I'm looking at, I saw it first time, and I'm thinking, interesting. So now they're promoting an actual movie, having two black women, their mother, right, and your daughters, and it seemed to me, so you're advocating with the assistance of a black director. I'm not sure how she's been directing, to put out this movie, which you see a lot of women responding on social media that they're going to see their daughters go out there, find their father, and delete their father. And I'm thinking, what is the psychological ramifications of this? Just like, and because most, that's.
Yeah, let me answer that by saying this. Whenever we have a cultural phenomenon that involves masculine, strong black men, what's it, Chaos?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, whenever you have a phenomenon that involves masculine, strong black men, what winds up happening is they find a way to cut that off as quickly as humanly possible. So in the case of Black Panther, cultural phenomenon, because black people, regardless of where they were throughout the diaspora, black men, especially in America, pride. Because you had somebody who was smarter and richer than Tony Stark. You had somebody who was about that life. You had somebody that was going to avenge his father by any means necessary, even if it meant causing an international incident in order to do so. Then you have a situation where you saw how the Tethers, the Wakandans, sat back and watched America and the people that they say they love so much suffer when they got all the technology and all the resources, so on and so forth. And then when Killmonger, whose mother was a foundational Black American, wound up being left there and only left there with his father's body while his mother passed in prison because his mother, the foundational Black American. When you see that scene where Sterling K. Brown's character Njobu was trying to break his wife out, that's what they were doing. That's what they were planning with a younger version of Forrest Whitaker's character, James. Right. So what winds up happening is you have this kid who now identifies primarily as a foundational Black American, even though his father is Wakandan. He only knew his father when he was 12 because his uncle unalived his father and then left him there. So what happens is your comeuppance happens. And so the idea of Killmonger being painted a villain, he wasn't a villain. He's arguably the greatest big bad since Thanos, because Killmonger was like, hey, dog, I'm coming to get all of this. And you know what? It's Black people's time. Y'all claim y'all Africans, so ain't all people y'all people? How come y'all left me there? Even when Chadwick Boseman got his powers back and he went to the ancestral plane, what did he say? You were wrong. You should not have left the boy there. But you know what? They didn't want no foundational Black Americans seeing all this stuff and possibly, shutting it down and making sure that Black people throughout the diaspora, because we so damn Pan-African, got the resources from that. You should have brought the boy home. Notice, didn't no warships from Wakanda come for Black people. They watched slavery happen. Now, I'm saying all that to say, when Tariq Nasheed dropped Hidden Colors, all of a sudden you see this thing with Kevin Costner and Taraji P. Henson, called Hidden Figures. So that when you go Googling hidden in Black, all of a sudden you see Hidden Figures. They do this to reset. Sinners in and of itself, yet another Michael B. Jordan project, yet another Ryan Coogler project, a project that shows strong foundational Black American men taking their money, getting their money and taking money from the dominant society and turning it into Black dollars and turning it into a situation where they can build their own. And they not only wanted to get the building, but they wanted to get the land. So now what they want to do, what Hollywood will do is correct itself. And it will correct itself. I'm using finger quotes here. It will correct itself by saying, what we ain't going to do is let folks think that Black men are going to be leaders, that Black men are going to be strong, that Black men are going to step up and stand out. So that's what's happening here. That's why they're preempting this by saying, oh, it's going to get all this Oscar buzz, this, that, and the third. Vivica Fox is one of the nicest women I have ever met. My wife's favorite Black actress is Vivica Fox. Vivica Fox allowed me to have a meet and greet with my wife and her, and it blew her mind. I got nothing against Vivica Fox. I think she is phenomenal. I think, and I told her this, I said, I really want a Kill Bill situation where it's like Kill the Bride, like that needs to happen. She said, well, we shot some stuff, but we wanted to wait till the young lady got older. F that now. She's older, because that was 17 years ago. I had a conversation with Vivica. Let's get Zendaya in that role. Let's get Zendaya in the role.
You mean Kill Bill Part 2? When it came out in 2007?
Kill Bill 3, which would be Kill the Bride.
When the second one came out, was it 2007, 2006? I'm trying to remember.
It came out 2005, 2006, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Well, the guy, I think who Quentin Tarantino, who was the director. That was the rumor that he should have been automatically rolling out that now, because that's now 20 years ago. And usually that girl, I don't know how old it was. I don't know, she was like 8 or 9. She'd probably be close to 30 now. If they release that now, it's time for that to come out.
But just for star power's sake, put Zendaya in the role, because Zendaya looks like that girl. And let's put some swordplay behind Zendaya, because Zendaya needs some action. I'm tired of her just being the pretty girl. Like, if you look at what she does in Euphoria, my daughter watches Euphoria. I like Zendaya for what she is, but I think it would be a dope movie. This right here is some of the things that I think happen, and what has happened over time is that Vivica does what a lot of people do. You get with a guy, you don't realize the potential of the guy, you think that you're going to last forever being as fine as hell, and the wall is undefeated. That's why she got on Fox Soul talking ill about Kevin Samuels, celebrating his untimely passing and all that type of stuff. So it does not surprise me that she is the star of a misandrist Black man campaign. But yeah, and even in Doom, Zendaya is great. Absolutely, good point, Stumia. But that's what's happening.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't even think about the
This is Hollywood.
it slipped my mind. It slipped my mind about that movie, and that movie is now 20 years old. Eventually, you know, they will release it. You know, one thing with Vivica, because she has never won an Oscar. I think that's what I say, right?
She needs one.
They might give it to her if this comes out. You know, I think it's only respect. I ain't gonna watch, but I would say in regards to Hollywood and what she has done, they'll just give it to her just as say, okay, play this role, be this Miss Andrews, like you said, Dave, and talk bad about the black man, and he will give you this Oscar. And you know that's how it works sometimes. They'll say black man is the bad guy to a lot of people. And you know, my good friend of mine, we had conversations with this. I'm gonna tell you a secret. Everything they do is a mating guard for other men, you know, because they know the potential of black men. So they do these demonic things, sending propaganda, all this stupidness. It's a form of mate guarding, you know. It is what it is, you know. And I tell black men, don't take it as any personal, you know, it is business. You get me?
Yeah.
They demonize you for not only profit, but to keep you away from other groups of women if you choose to. You get me? And really, truly, that doesn't really work now because women love, you know, the attraction, love bad people. You know, they like that. They like what they like. You know what I'm saying? You could demonize a man. Matter of fact, what they do is kind of backwards. Because now demonize him, it draws more great attraction. Yes, which, you know, if they say these people are very intelligent, they're not really intelligent, Dave. They're not really intelligent, especially the man. You know what I'm saying? And for those women that, you know, have a problem with black men, anyway, you already made your decision already. So you watch that movie, you already have a misinterest towards black men anyway. So
I mean, misandry, it goes unchecked, but this is what Hollywood does. Hollywood does not. The only type of black men Hollywood likes, with very few exceptions,
weirdo dude. You should know I'm talking about the weirdo dudes, and yeah.
But here's the irony, and this is the point I wanted to bring up to you, right? When okay, so what was that movie? Okay, so the movie that Vivica is doing stars this person, and there's another movie that now I gotta look it up. Hold on, y'all are pissing me off because the middle age is kicking in, and I gotta find it. No, this is not it. Let's go here. Bear with me, y'all. This is important. Oh, Black Panther. Who played Killmonger's father? Do you remember?
Damn, I gotta go back. It was
Sterling K. Brown. Sterling K. Brown played Killmonger's father, right? In Black Panther. Stay with me. Do you know who the father is in this Vivica Fox movie?
Is it Sterling K. Brown?
It's Sterling K. Brown.
What the fuck?
They're sending you a message whether you're aware of it or not. Because if we can kill Killmonger's daddy off, we see what happens with father absence. You become evil. You become a killer. We call you Killmonger instead of calling you Njobu. I mean, I'm sorry, Ndjaka. Even though the character in the comics is called Killmonger more than he's called Ndjaka. Just like M'Baku is not called M'Baku. They call him Man-Ape, but Man-Ape doesn't really play well in this woke role. Anyway, and anyhow, we got some folks back here, man. Thank you for being up here, Chaos.
Okay,
man.
Thank you. And they can respond back to my email when I sent it. And, you know what I'm saying? I will look at getting one of your albums. This is I know you put out some music out here, especially the Tether one. That one was nice.
Tear the mouth, tear the mouth.
I
appreciate you, man.
All right, take care.
Thank you, man. James Harlem, what's up, my friend?
How you do? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Hey, yo, man, this is the first time I listened to your broadcast, bro, and I gotta say, man, you are off the chain with excellence with it.
Thank you, good brother. I appreciate you.
Primarily why I said that is the information that you gave me on the Jacksons. I mean, you know, I was there in the beginning when they first came out, so I followed them my whole life. What you told me about Jermaine and Randy,
yes, sir.
That is crazy, man.
Yes, sir.
I remember when Randy first joined the group, when he used to play bongos. And what I really wanted to ask also is if you are rating the comparisons from the Broadway performance on Michael compared to this this biopic, how would you compare the two?
I think you really can't, and the reason that is the MJ the musical is just that it's a musical, and it's dope, and I think it's more sing-alongy Broadway spectacular, where this is trying to be a real grounded portrayal of Michael Jackson, his relationship with his brothers, his kinship with his mother. I think this is the first time anybody's ever looked at Michael Jackson, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but I got to keep it a buck. I think Mike's on the spectrum. I do. There's certain things, even with my daughter, sometimes even with me. I think number one, he's hyper focused, right? He's reclusive. He doesn't like to look people in the eyes. He does not like a whole lot of yelling and screaming. Noises kind of bother him. There's all of these little things. And Joe, when he was working with Michael when he was very young, you can see it there. And this has been well documented. I have interviewed a bunch of Jacksons in my day. And they all said that, one of the biggest issues that Joe had with Michael was that Michael wouldn't look him in the eye. Like, look me in the eye when you're performing. Like, that training, we can say whatever we want about Joe Jackson, and I got a lot to say because I don't believe that beating children is always the right thing, even though that's how we came up. We came up from a certain era, and that, that was more, we do this to deter you. Now that ain't a deterrent. But Joe whipped them kids into success. Not excusing what he did, I'm just saying, but there's certain things I think Mike was on the spectrum. I think that this movie is something that every foundational Black American needs to see so that you understand what excellence looks like. Not what Black excellence looks like, what excellence looks like in every field of human endeavor. When it comes from the fact that Michael Jackson is a dancer, he's one of the few people that holds patents for stage performance things. You're talking about the person that revolutionized the Super Bowl halftime show after the Wayans brothers showed what can happen during that time, because the marching bands wasn't cutting it. And they said, oh, okay, y'all not gonna have another one of these halftime shows on our expense. We getting the biggest star in the world. And they got Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson flew off in a jetpack. Like,
yeah, I remember.
There's so much. There's so much that does not get talked about, but it's like jazz. It's not the notes itself, it's the stuff in between the notes. It's not the words, and it's not the story itself, it's the things in between the story that you pick up: the body language, the relationship, the frustration, the guilt tripping that Joe did. I think the dynamic between Joe and Michael has never ever been shown. Now, if you compare this movie to Jackson's The American Dream, even with that one stopped at the victory tour. This one stops at the bad tour, but even with it, you can see a lot more nuance. You see a human being in Joe Jackson, not making excuses for him and how he came up, but you see a human being more than you see anything else. And human beings are bad. They can be manipulative. They can be greedy. There's a whole lot of stuff happen. The one thing that I do have an issue with, because I'm a Jackson historian, is I saw the victory tour. And what people don't remember is you had to get them $120 money order and send it off so that you could be in a lottery in order to buy tickets. There was no internet, but that was a Don King, Joe Jackson idea. And they did that so that they can make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars without selling a ticket before they sold tickets. It was a hustle, Wow. So those types of things, I don't feel like they dive deep enough into. Because the other truth of that is the reason that Michael said, I'm leaving and we're done with this tour, is because he's not as money grubbing as his brothers. Well, because he's more talented than all of them combined, and he did not need to be. They needed that tour. Joe Jackson needed Pepsi because his son was no longer under his control. So it's a lot. So
they put a lot more emphasis in the Joe Jackson portion of the Jacksons history.
I think if you don't do anything else, just go see it in IMAX. Go check out a matinee. I think you're gonna love it, fam.
Okay. So when I was asking, as rating Jermaine's son's dancing, phenomenal,
as close to Michael Jackson as you're ever going to get.
Wow.
I can't. I want to tear it apart. I do, but I can't. I want to say it's bad, but it's great. I can't see a world where Michael Jackson would not be proud of his nephew, because he did love his nephew. Like, that part is well documented. I'm telling you, Jafar Jackson is phenomenal because he's not impersonating him, he's embodying him, and I think that's a difference.
Okay, question. Okay, back in the days, before Michael, because Michael did some of the same dance moves for about 15 years before
Certainly
he started branching out. Did they go back into that era?
As far as like his dances,
when it was the five brothers before Randy even got in the group in.
Oh, you don't see Randy in this movie at all.
Right.
Yeah, but
okay.
you do see dancing, you see dance rehearsals, you see and this is also very true. Marlon has said this. I've asked Marlon about this. Michael had something inside of him where he could literally look at what you're doing and pick it up like that. So he would watch Jackie Wilson, he would watch James Brown, and James Brown do the splits, and Michael do the splits, and then Marlon would try and do it, and like Michael would help him. You know, like a lot of that is depicted. It's also depicted in American Dream, but I think Michael had everything that all of the brothers had individually rolled into one. You know, he was a good-looking guy.
Instruments? I can't
Michael didn't
remember
play. Michael was the instrument. Like he's not a musician like Prince. He's a singer, dancer, performer, entertainer. He was not a true musician with a 7-octave range and a 33 instrumentation ability. He was not that. I mean, Tito played bass and Jermaine played guitar, but again, you know, you don't see Jackie playing a bunch of instruments. You know what I'm saying? It's a different ball game. I think that there are two different lanes. But for me, when you watch this movie, and I'm going to tell you, I mean, because we know I came up in that era. You know, you were alive, so you understand what Michael Jackson mania was at its height.
Oh yes.
To get that feeling again, like you're going to get that feeling again. If you don't, there's something wrong with you.
Listen, in this whole entire wide world, that's the only person I ever wanted to be.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I love myself.
Right.
That's
you love yourself.
But
because Mike is something. Mike is like Haley's Comet. You're never going to see him again.
I'm talking about back when he was young. I grew up with all of the girls wanting him. You thinking all of us wanted that?
Yeah.
But I never hated on him. I never hated on this fat. I mean, I wish I was one of his brothers. I'd have took that. You know what I mean? But I didn't know the nuances.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't know the nuances. James Brown is the only person that I wish was my father besides my real father.
I understand,
so those two people. Because I used to go to the Apollo. I mean, I had an express trip to the Apollo just about any time I want to, so I seen everybody except for the Jackson 5. I used to hate going down south in the summertime because I was afraid they were going to come to the Apollo. I was afraid they was going to come to the Apollo, and I would have missed it. I think I might have been there when they won the amateur night. I really can't recall, but I don't think they've been back. They never performed at the Apollo ever since the amateur night, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure they haven't, but I'm not 100% sure. But I want to get this last guy on, man. I appreciate you coming up, James.
Man, I appreciate you very much. Excellent show, man. I'll tune back in.
Man.
Thank you.
Make sure you subscribe, brother. Appreciate you. Afro Nerd Radio, what up, man? Welcome. Thank you for your patience, bro.
Hey, anytime, Dave. I appreciate you for what you're doing. Your presence on YouTube is integral.
Thank you.
Much of what I mean, I don't even know where to start with you because you touched on a number of topics that I'm quite familiar with. So that's okay. So I just wanted to just shout out to you quickly. So I like the fact, well, first you were talking about Michael Jackson, right? So many of us grew up with Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5. I have great reverence for them, but I'm doing a little side project and I'm gonna approach you afterwards on this thing, and I think you'll dig it. In the chat, I was known under the IP Black Wall Street Odds. Wall Street Odds is something new that I'm starting. If you remember Wall Street Bets, I'm familiar. I know you're pretty familiar with Wall Street Bets and what that did.
Yes, sir.
I asked myself, why wasn't there a black version of that when you saw how the markets moved, right?
Right.
So So I'll tell you more. I'll send you some information on this.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about Michael Jackson, right, I'm looking at him in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
One way would be, why isn't Neverland Ranch available to us the way that Graceland is available to us?
Bingo.
Okay, so I know you understand where I'm going with this.
Yes, I do.
There are things that we are doing in the culture. We could talk about the preservation of blackness and FBA and all of that, and I have an FBA as well. That is important, but there is a financial element that we miss out continuously. I am so angry with this about this. It's going on too long. That's why I started this new project, right? So we have to start asking questions, and we have to stop certain kinds of behavior. We should be asking about even just something simple like that. How his intellectual property is with his children and his mother, but no one else in that family has access to it. Prince almost had that same issue, and it was divided by his relatives.
Correct.
Because he didn't have a will.
Allegedly,
right.
I know different, but I'm shutting my mouth on that.
Okay.
I know for a fact. But
see, the issue is we're giving cultural ideas, and we don't seek recompense for them.
Correct.
So when we get all giddy about quote unquote Black Twitter, and we don't make Black Twitter an actual thing, but we put the grease in the greens, as they say, as far as what Black culture has able to do and how it makes money.
Facts.
So when I talk about Graceland, for those who know, Graceland is
in Memphis,
Elvis's
home. Yep.
Right. Elvis's home is the second most visited home after the White House in the United States.
Correct.
Right. But what would a Neverland Ranch do if we had access to that? But the neighbors in California they put a wash on it. I think it's literally been broken up where you have to go to Vegas to see parts of his house. But but think about the loss of income and the loss of cultural weight just for something simple like that. So there are so many things that we're doing. When we talk about even how we use the term old school hip hop versus classic hip hop, when we label things old school, we make ourselves irrelevant.
Right, because
obsolete.
you don't hear old school rock and has a person who's programmed rock stations. I can tell you, classic rock has its place. Creedence Clearwater Revival, America, the Stones. Like, we have a problem when it comes to control. And Charlemagne and I in 2007 were honored at there's a thing called the Conclave. It's a radio event, and it was 30 under 30. So both Charlemagne and I were honored, and it's the first time I had befriended and ran into Isaac Hayes Sr. or Isaac Hayes the second, the actual cultural icon, the Black Moses, so on and so forth. And there was this panel, and me and Charlemagne was explaining that what the difference between us and Black radio and white radio is that when an artist who is pop or rock or any of the dominant genres ages out, that music automatically goes to an upper demo radio station. There's what you call adult contemporary or classic adult. We don't have that. We have urban, which is young hip hop 1834, and then you have urban AC, which is still to this day Jeffrey Osborne and Anita Baker, that type of stuff. But there's no real place for what should be a adult hip hop, adult R&B type of situation, with the exception of Frankie Beverly and Maze. There at the time, and still at the time, there was no place for what I would consider classic artists. I don't like the term old school either, because ain't nothing old school about anything. Hell, Run DMC said it's all brand new, never ever old school, and now they're considered old school. So I say all that to say, when we don't have a place to do that and we act like people fall off as if their classics still don't have value. Now you're starting to see, I told Naughty by Nature in 2010 that they should do a Vegas residency. Now you see all these folks doing residencies who beforehand were playing Six Flags because we don't circle our wagons around our icons.
Agreed. And look, it's as simple as going to a Target store and you see infant wear, and you see a ad with a white infant with a Nirvana T-shirt on. And we look at this, passively, and I see repeatedly on so many formats, Black folk who are repeatedly just very passive, very nonchalantly just dismissing things. I think when you mentioned Bruno Mars, when he tapped into New Jack Swing for a minute, and then Black folks were angry about New Jack Swing. Well, I said, wait a minute, the man picked up what you discarded.
The man picked up what they would no longer let us make. That's what y'all don't get. Again, I've had record deals. I've seen how they operate when it comes to Black people wanting to do our own thing. There's a difference between what they will allow you to do. Do you think it's a coincidence that I'm not going to say that? What I will say is I have been offered things that would set my family up for generations, but I'm not going to sell you out. I need you to understand that. I need you to understand that the people who run this situation don't want us to make our music. They want to move us away from it. Do you think it's an accident that Chris Brown and Usher are touring now? Because for a while, you never saw Usher making R&B. For like 2 albums, Usher was making more EDM than he was making R&B. Do you think that's by coincidence?
No, I hear you.
So what I'm saying is, it's not that we discarded it. It's that the people who distribute records, the people who sign artists, the people who have the marketing machine behind it, the people that, create award shows in the desert that got that idea from me, do not want us to be dominant. They never want another Michael Jackson. They don't want that to happen. Look at what they did to Usher. Look at what they did to Chris Brown. Look at what they did to Bobby Brown. They don't want another Michael Jackson. I grew up in an era where Bobby Brown was selling out arenas like Mike. I grew up in an era where I saw the tour after Bobby Brown got kicked out of New Edition, and New Edition had Bobby Brown open up for him. And they couldn't do nothing about it because he was that big. Ralph ain't got what Bobby got. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Well, let me posit this, and this is, I think we're getting somewhere.
Yeah,
this is the type of conversation I don't see on Black YouTube. It's never that deep, because what you're saying, I think we're coming to an agreement here. What I see clearly is that there is a shepherding of Blackness that we don't really control. Right? It's like we are shepherded into a certain mindset. Like when you think of something like Destiny's Child versus Beyonce. Versus Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones.
Correct.
The Rolling Stones are a corporation. They might as well be a building.
Absolutely.
Right. Metallica is a building. They're an institution. Right. But there's always been, even going back to well, you could say the Jacksons were even before the Jacksons. Little Anthony, I think, was also an example of this. Well, there's this need to make the singer the focal point. Everyone goes away. Lionel Richie goes away from the Commodores. Early Commodores were a beast, right? Yes. But then they just disappear. Now, on the white corporate side, we see clearly that Keith Richards is his own person. Yes. Mick Jagger is his own person, and they're still able to go back to do the Rolling Stones and do billion-dollar business. But anytime we talk about Black stuff, it's always, you got to get out the group. You got to do your solo thing. They hint at Destiny's Child. Destiny's Child should be put on Front Street with Beyonce so that everybody can eat equally. Destiny's Child should be a billion-dollar brand, just as Beyonce is a billion-dollar brand. But Black folks are never put into that space. They are shepherded a certain way. So that's why, and I'll send you this information. But these are the questions that I'm asking, that we have to start thinking differently. We cannot be allowed to keep on going in this direction, where we're consistently positioned a certain way, not to make money, not to make legacy. It's like an anti-legacy thinking with us that has been here forever, and it continues to be. It's the belittling of our culture, and then some of us kind of go with the flow, and we just talk this way when no one else does this. Everyone else is allowed to eat off a legacy. And one more thing, and I'm gonna mention, I don't want to take too much of your time.
Sure.
When you mentioned Charlemagne,
yes.
I respect Charlemagne's hustle because he is intelligent enough to keep the machine going at his advantage. Like his tentacles are out there, podcast, iHeart. He's on Netflix now. I get it, but when he's positioned as a kind of spokesperson, and he's not really up to snuff intellectually, I'll give you an example.
Tell me about that.
In. Okay, all right. I'm not called the Afro for nothing, right? So a few years back, if you remember, you can look this up. He was interviewed on a Real Time with Bill Maher.
Yes.
Real Time. So they're having a discussion on reparations. And you realize just how racist a white progressive can be.
Certainly.
Because he automatically, just like the people on the right, and I consider myself conservative. You see it on there.
Certainly.
Right?
Certainly.
But I'm not anti-historian.
No.
So when he personalizes the question, well, why do you think white people should pay you? I'm paraphrasing. And why do you personally think you deserve reparations? Because, well, you're successful. By happenstance, you're successful. That really wasn't confirmed in the cards. But because you make a lot of money, why do you quote unquote deserve reparations? And he really was fumbling that ball. There's not enough people to talk about it the way you need to talk about it. This goes back to Black Wall Street Odds and my imprint for Wall Street Bets, Black version. Number one, if you are FBA, this is not discounting the Caribbean, so they got CARICOM, they got their own. Black folks,
they got their own thing.
Okay, when you are FBA, talk about the American condition.
Certainly,
you are the executor of an estate. Full stop. Oprah deserves reparations. Robert Smith deserves reparations, and homeboy on the corner who may be struggling, a homegirl, they deserve reparations. It's an estate claim. There's no feelings in it, and it's not about individual rights. I'm sorry, individual whites. States owned slaves. New Jersey owned slaves. The government leased slaves.
Certainly.
Right. So see this. So when he tells you, well, you need it, why are you personalizing it? You don't deserve it. It's not about me having money. The wealthiest Black to the poorest Black. Look, if you're late on a Microsoft bill, better example. If you're late on a Jeff Bezos bill at Amazon,
you can cut off.
He got a lot of money. Does he? No, my bad. I don't need it. No. If you're late on this bill, you're going to be sent to a collection agency.
That's how it goes.
White folks are experts in collecting money that's owed. Correct. And I'll leave you on this last thing.
Sure.
When you talk about Elvis and slavery, the connection, Elvis's granddaughter receives money for the work that Elvis did, even though she didn't sing Hound Dog. We do not. Big Mama Thornton sang it, but
when Hound Dog came out, she wasn't even thought of. Oh, her mother wasn't thought of when Hound Dog came out. However, she benefits from a direct lineage that put in work for things
that she didn't do.
Exactly.
That she didn't do.
And again, the problem is this, and I've known Charlemagne well over 20 years. I've had this conversation. You can go look at my Breakfast Club interview with him.
No, I'm aware of it.
So then you already know everything you're saying. I said. So for me, it's more of, I had a friend named Julia here, God rest her soul. And she said, the problem with Black people ain't Black leaders. It's leading Blacks. And we have Blacks that are leading Black people to places that we have absolutely no business being. And until such time as we start handling our business the way that we need to handle our business, that's why I wrote the Real Black Agenda. The reason that I have not had a record deal since in 30 years isn't because I didn't want one. It's because I know what comes with it. I've turned down several record deals, but I decided to just make my music one, because I wanted to give foundational Black Americans something that they could actually bump and be proud of and still have the message. You know what I'm saying? And secondly, you know, I'm one of those people. I'm hyper fixated on things, and I like to be creative, and that's why I did what I did. That's why I'm going to continue. I'm never going to stop making music ever again. But when it comes to Bill Maher, to Mika's point, you can read that. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Oh yeah, of course.
So,
but,
you know, Bill Maher is going to do what Bill Maher do. And you also have to remember the difference between me and my good friend Leonard is that nobody can say that they're my boss. No one can say that they own me. No one can say that they have paid me and put me under contract since 2011 when I retired from that. So I can do whatever I want. And that is the difference. The problem is, if I wanted to ascend to a certain level without the support of my people, which is why it takes me so long. That's why people are like, man, where you been? How come ain't nobody else talking like this? I've been here since 1987. The problem is y'all ain't want me. Y'all want a Pookie in there. So now it's stepdaddy season, and y'all see that he's a good man, Savannah. Now here y'all come. Respectfully, happy to have you. Welcome to the party. But I've been here since Reagan was in office. It's just that I don't have the backing of that situation. And you know, let's just say on an alternate path and on an alternate universe, it could be that certain streaming platforms did not understand that podcasting is not something that people are going to pay $30 a month to see, and they might want to stick to movies, because I think that bubble is about to pop. Respectfully, I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am.
Can I throw out another financial point to you,
Mm-hmm.
to show you how I'm serious about this? Things we do
Mm-hmm.
passively.
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks ago, you might remember that Eddie Murphy received some kind of award, right?
Yes.
Some kind of film award,
Lifetime
and he deserves
Achievement
it.
Award. Yes.
Right? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave Chappelle, his friend, shouted him out at the podium. He said, "Hey, listen, man, I was fortunate enough to work with your brother Charlie Murphy, and I want you to take over his parts if we reboot the Dave Chappelle show." Now, it sounds great. I'm up for it, but this is the problem. Will Ferrell, the great Will Ferrell, a funny man.
Yes.
We didn't think. I was shocked to see 15 years ago he came up with Funny or Die.
Yes.
Funny or Die was a valuation of $300 million.
Correct.
He sells it, and it still makes tens of millions per year.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, why don't we have a Black Funny or Die to house a Dave Chappelle, to house the streamers like Kai Cenat and Drewski, who made like 100 million views when he was pretending to be Erica Kirk? You see what I'm saying? We're not thinking right. So when he says,
hold on, time out. Two things. First of all, Kai Cenat, not foundational. I don't know what Drewski is, but I love the examples. I just want to, because I got to get this point out. We have it. Y'all niggas don't want it. What do you think Kevin Hart did with LOL? What do you think Nick Cannon's been trying to do with Incredible? Y'all don't want it. Y'all want that shit when white people say it's good. Y'all don't want it when we give it to you. In 2019, way before there was a Zeus, I did Business Bully TV, and I had all types of people on. I had Tim Black on my channel. I had episodes of Ism Radio on my channel. I had classic interviews. I had I was giving people shows left and right. And y'all said, yeah, nah. But the second Amanda Cerny backs people like Natalie Nunn and Lem, baddies. Let's watch Black women pull hair and beat each other to get a spot in the house. So to me, it's not that why don't we have those things? It's when we have those things, y'all don't want them. LOL is still a thing. Kevin Hart still has it. You know where it is right now? It's on Pluto TV because y'all Negroes don't want it. Y'all would rather have a watered down, whitewashed, white programmed, white owned BET than support Kev. Y'all would rather have a watered down, whitewashed America's Got Talent than get behind Nick Cannon in a real way. So much so that when Nick Cannon pointed out historical facts, Black folks were told to cancel him the same way that the small hat people tried to cancel him beforehand. Nobody wants to have this conversation because this conversation is where the ugly medicine tastes the worst. And it's that we only want it when they say we can have it. We're a bunch of Django's, and that's the problem. Until we stop letting the folks say you have permission to go after your masters, take that for what it is. we're never going to do that. We have it. Why do you think I'm on here and I'm saying, listen, y'all don't want me to be on the road 11 months out of the year. I'm going to need y'all support. I literally dropped the album because y'all was saying, you know, this, that, and the third, and these folks is getting out of hand. Guess what? Where y'all at, though? We're going to see Friday. Where y'all at, though? That's it. It's not that we don't have it. It's just that. Yep.
Well, what you're saying is noted, especially Kai Cenat. Look, I'm very aware about his comments. I'm also aware he went to a school called Frederick Douglass Academy in Harlem, but then says, you're just black. You're just black. You don't have any culture. Mm-hmm. So Zydeco, go-go, hip-hop, jazz, blues, Creole culture, Gullah, Geechee. I can go on and on. That doesn't count. The Harlem Renaissance doesn't count. Black American culture bodies. We are the culture globally. So I'm really tired of having to explain this. When I see Japanese people doing the moonwalk, or I see someone doing the moonwalk in the middle of Ukraine somewhere, and we can't take credit for that. But I mean, I don't want to take up much of your time. Good. Listen, I just want to leave you on this note because I'm really serious about this Black Wall Street odds thing. If we can clamor around the Shade Room, which I think was valued also around $300 million by a non-foundational Black American.
Tether, Shade Room, Media Taker, all this is Tether stuff. And it's Tether stuff. That's why it gets promoted. And y'all keep going there. The thing of it is, Negroes want mess. They don't want empowerment. It is very hard. Look, again, all I'm saying, I mean, I do great numbers, and I'm not complaining about where we are, especially because we're still in our infancy. But let's keep it a buck. Am I doing Corey Holcomb numbers? No. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Well, look, everything doesn't have to hit 1,000.
No,
as long as you're able to, that's one thing we have a habit of doing is that if it doesn't do gangbusters, if it's short of being like a global hit, but still being solvent, we discard it. Right. I was involved with the Afropunk Festival, and that's also kind of been taken away. Black people returning to rock music, doing metal, doing punk music. And this is in New York. And this was the second most visited festival in New York, where you see Black folks, the type of Black people you don't normally see. You don't think you see such a thing as Black skaters, Black rockers. They exist. And yet we think that hip hop is the only thing going. We are entitled to have a multiple expressions like everyone else. Correct. Everyone else. I'm part of the Blurred thing. The Blurred thing is its own universe.
Certainly it is.
That makes money. I've interviewed quite a few people. I've also had my own show. I interviewed people from Maceo Parker to Prince's Andre Simone, his best friend. I've interviewed the late Marva Collins. I've done quite a bit just on my own little thing. But what I'm telling you is, I have to do this, right? It's a tick with me. So because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that a group of white corporate, traders can get together and push AMC and push GameStop. And I'm like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me Black folks can't clamor around finance? So if we can clamor around and talk about Megan's breakup on the Shade Room, why can't we clamor around and talk about finance on Black Wall Street odds? I'm putting it out there like that. Because we can't keep on doing this. We can't keep on just crying and whining. There's got to be things we got to start thinking differently. But the stuff I told you about, we need to be asking questions about why can't we see Michael Jackson's house? We can see Elvis's house, but we can't see this man's house. Why can't we eat off of our legacies? And many of us are clueless about what that means. Stop calling old school hip hop old school. Right. White man call stuff class. They will. I'm long-winded. But they will bring the Beatles are not dead. They will literally bring back an AI version of the dead members of the Beatles.
I mean, when we had that Michael Jackson clone, people got mad. That hologram, people got mad. So, but again, my whole thing to your point, I'm with you. I think that what you're trying to do is valiant. I think it can work. It just has to be entertaining. That's why I'm done. I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day. I also did this album because trying to talk to you Negroes straight up and down just don't work. So now I got to put it in a form where y'all got to hear what I'm saying in the messages. I got to create artwork and different covers for different singles, just so that y'all can look and see what the hell I'm saying and what I'm not saying, and where all the clues. Nobody's going to get all the Easter eggs in this record until I'm dead. But you're going to have to start pushing in a way. By the way, Drewski's Jamaican and white, so tether. But again, they're doing numbers. But my whole thing is, I'm not saying that I'm giving up, because like I said, this is in its infancy. But what I'm trying to get Black folks to understand, we can try to act like we're going to outsmart the money here, but the truth of the matter is, most folks don't want all that. What they really want is to be entertained, and that's why they keep lulling us to sleep with entertainers. Malcolm warned us about this. This is what happens.
You're
so
right.
That's where we are, bro. But I'm so glad you're here. Y'all done made me run a whole damn hour.
I'm sorry, man.
No,
Listen,
it's cool.
I'll see some stuff behind the scenes, man. But I really would appreciate you. If you could take a look at it, and I think we got to think differently. That's all. That's all I really wanted to say.
Not a problem. I appreciate you. Don't worry. I will send you an invoice. Anywho and anyhow. Let me get to these comments because I already know y'all been up in here. I agree, Mika. They exactly. Okay. First Class Citizen says we need our own venture capitalists, and we do have them. Chris Gardner, the author of Pursuit of Happiness, is a venture capitalist. Byron Allen, venture capitalist. Robert Smith, venture capitalist. We have them. Damon John, venture capitalist. My whole thing is, at what point do we start rebuilding our credit? Like, that's one of the things we got to get on. Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna start getting you guys some information in regards to that. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely got to be there. TZ, I'm with you on that, man. Absolutely. TZ got himself a bundle. Don't forget, album drops on Friday. The Will Shooter 216 says, the Charleston White effect has to be studied. When he's on the streets helping people solely, nobody cares. You have to grab these N-words attention the same way Aaron Magruder did. Listen, what did I don't know who it was, but I will tell you, I'm still me. And I tell people all the time, like, I was always taught to be accomplished. I was always taught, go out here and be the best, so on and so forth. I did Forbes, nobody said anything. I did Entrepreneur Magazine, nobody said anything. I did CNN, nobody said anything. USA Today, nobody said anything. I put up probably at the time 16, 17 books. Nobody said anything. I show up on the Breakfast Club. Oh! I go viral for telling Black women the truth when it comes to, we don't give a rat's ass about your education. We care that you can be a good wife. You know what I'm saying? It's always fun if you're a good time girl, you thick or whatever. That's cool for a night. But when it comes to the rest of our lives, we need something a little bit more substantive. And if you so accomplished, why you letting Pookie nut up in you? You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, oh, this dude's talking about something. Y'all didn't want to hear me until I turned heel. Same thing with Charleston White. It's human psychology. It's been studied since the beginning of time. You always pay attention to the bad guy while cheering on the hero. Nobody would give a goo-gob damn about Superman if it wasn't for Lex Luthor or Darkseid, because without a folly, without a foil, without the bad guy, you ain't got nothing. That's just how it is. And then we need to have a conversation about taxes. Absolutely. Absolutely. FU2 said, I just found out about Juicy's YouTube channel this weekend and watched his live show. Every Black woman on there was ignorant with issues. Absolutely. And that's the thing. Friday, tomorrow. I keep acting like I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm not anymore. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing some, I saw this thing this morning when I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I could not stop watching it. It was a kid in high school who does like these quizzes to people. And he's even quizzing adults, teachers, the whole nine. You will not believe how stupid, respectfully, how stupid a lot of these folks are. But, that's today's show, man. I hope that y'all, I hope that you guys are tuned in, and I hope you guys are sharing this. It means the world to me if you are, but I really hope that this show is becoming impactful for you. And I hope that you guys really check out the record, man. I also added 2 more tracks to the record. If you go to Spotify, you can preview the album. I do hope that you buy it this Friday when it drops. So that's that. Cardina says, what up, though? Brother, the black and white hat theory. That's what America does best. Listen, you ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. Let's see here. C. Terry B1 says, facts. And everybody loves Tubi, which is why I see the same people who own Fox News owns. I refuse to watch. Yeah, it's the same situation. FP2 says, I believe that the average person on the planet is a non-thinker. That's what it is. That's what it does. That's what it does. Kenny Mac, what up? What up, Slim? DC tapping in. Tap in, DC. I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, no, I'm definitely here for it. So, again, not on Apple Music yet, but it's coming. So, hopefully, everything should be lined up for Friday. I'm still checking on it. But, again, definitely on Spotify. If you want to use the audio, it's on Instagram and TikTok, the whole album. So hopefully you guys are in there. Thank you for everybody who super chatted. Thank you for the people who are watching this replay, who are going to super thanks. I am going to chop some of this up and put some stuff out. So you know, do me a favor, make sure y'all let people know. FU2 said I saw it on Spotify, added it. Lincoln said, I'm pushing reading with my 3 because it helps you think beyond what you're taught in school, thinking and research. That's right. You don't rely on the government to teach your children. It's up to you to do so. Mark says, you're right. Most of us men don't care about a woman's education. When we ask, can they cook, they're offended. It's a man's way of finding out if you have any type of domestic skills. Yep. He said, Teasy said, I'm trying to bump it on my long route on Friday. Listen, I'm listen, from beginning to end, even with the new tracks that I added, I think you guys are really going to get your money's worth. I really think you're going to love this album. I'm praying to God that you do. Also, don't forget the Cash App is $, the business bully. If I gave you any type of joy today, appreciate it. Always appreciate the super chats, but I'm tired of YouTube getting so much of my money. But I'm happy to have them. But yeah, let's get them likes up. I appreciate that. I need y'all to subscribe. I need y'all to be here. Thank you so much, Art. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm doing my best to make sure I bring y'all a great show tomorrow. And we're gonna have a good time. Open your eyes. Can you play harmonica or a banjo? No, I cannot. Media takeout. Yep, tethers always, and that's what they do. FU2 says, I like women as a brain. I'm terrified of having a kid with a woman that doesn't read. Listen, never gonna happen. Yeah. Byron tried to say the so-called Black News Channel, and they turned it into the Griot TV, and that failed also because it has this. It has the whack juice on it. That's when you. That's what happens. But listen, I gotta run. That's my 1 o'clock. I love y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Get on. Get your mind right. Real talk, no fluff, no sidelines. We outside, bring the truth to the sunrise. Yeah, man, yeah, we coming at the right time. Dave Anderson, morning news. Like Hook Media. Morning media just got dangerous.